You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of Joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer.
Good morning and welcome in. Happy Friday. It's Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. And the Zone Radio Network and the Zone mobile app and all the ways that you could find the Zone, like Zone TV on YouTube as well. Joey Colbert is producing and Mike Schaefer is co-hosting today. Hi, guys.
Hello. Good morning.
How we doing?
Good. It's Feel Good Friday.
Joe, you are in quite the chipper mood this morning.
Very chipper.
What's this all about?
It's Friday. We got the NBA playoffs.
I was going to say
this
the NBA
weekend.
playoffs are coming around the corner.
We got Ryan Kalkbrenner battling it out for the 8th seed tonight against the Orlando Magic, which their coach might be fired if they lose today.
Really? Who's the Orlando Magic coach?
I think Eric Mosley or something like that. I
Wouldn't have got that in a million
I don't
years.
know. I might have got the first name wrong, but I know it's some form of Mosley.
All right, Mr. Mosley.
I think if we ever get bored of City of the Day, we can just switch to who's this coach?
Jamal Mosley.
Yeah.
Jamal Mosley. That was close enough.
Yeah, I actually, yes, absolutely. You get a point for that. For sure.
You would
But then the Celtics play the 76ers Sunday. That's going to be a bloodbath between the two.
is it,
Oh,
or is it just going to be a
bloodbath.
5-game series?
It's probably going to be a 5-game series. The Celtics own the Sixers in the playoffs.
Is Joel Embiid going to participate?
He might, but I don't think he'll be that effective.
He is Mr. Non-participator. He may have taken over for Anthony Davis as Mr. Non-participator.
He's the face of the NBA.
The face of not participating.
Where we make headlines, but we do not play.
That is right.
Where the quality of the game does not matter.
So the NBA.
I thought you were going to go with another rhyme there.
So speaking of not playing, so you are aware of the NBA rules where you have to play a total of 65 games to be eligible
To get the awards.
Yeah. So
Yes.
apparently they
gave these guys like exceptions.
they gave Kate
the
Cunningham and Luka
NCAA waiver
Doncic.
committee
Yeah.
actually stepped in here.
Yeah, they-
and they were threatened to go to court. They're going to take them to Knoxville, where they found sympathetic judges for these things.
Nice.
And,
Nice.
there was another one in SEC country yesterday in court cases.
Oh man.
Norman Judge Owen Heineke gets an extra year of eligibility.
Oh well, congrats to him.
Yeah. So we can discuss that when we get to 5 for 5.
Tremendous. We are going to talk about 5 for 5 today. Joey's excited because it's the weekend and he's got a lot of NBA to watch.
Have
this
you figured
weekend.
out your big Saturday yet?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
That's tomorrow.
I'm going one day at a time here.
Have you figured out your big Friday yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I will be at DJ So Cool Arena.
Oh, yeah, that's
Nice.
right.
Say-
You are in-game entertainment.
I like by now I've emceed a lot of things and I've tried to hype up crowds to sometimes it works and sometimes it
This
doesn't.
is going to be the lowest effort you have to put in to hype a crowd.
No. I was gonna say this Creighton, Nebraska. I think when I did this game at CHI in September, it may have been the best job I've ever done. When it went into set 5, they were like, go out there and just, absolutely let it rip. And I was like, you got it. And I came up with this, like, I don't remember what it was. I wonder if we have the video logged away somewhere, but like I came up with this whole, kind of slow moving, sort of rising, like almost like a hype, like a pregame hype.
Sure.
Speech. And then the music came in like right at the perfect time. And I was screaming about how it was set 5 and it was like the best 2 words in volleyball or something like that. I made it up. I completely made it up 8 seconds before I went out there. So proud of myself for that. And so I don't think it'll be quite that tonight.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're not going to get that.
No.
Early shout out to you.
But we'll be playing a lot of games on the court and celebrating volleyball tonight at DJ
And
Sokol Arena.
it's on Nebraska Public Media?
It's on the public media with
All right.
dear friend Mr. Putney and dear friend Coach Booth.
Okay. Look at that. She's on the call.
Absolutely. So it'll be but it's sold out. So you're gonna have to be watching Putney Vision if you don't have tickets already.
I'll be watching the Putney.
Good. Well, and what is the baseball? Is the baseball on the BTN tonight?
I think it's BTN Plus.
It's BTN Plus for the first 2 games, and then Sunday's games on Nebraska Public Media.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to televise on BTN these games.
The
Why
top
would you do
15.
that? There's probably
You're
an
idiot!
incredible lacrosse replay that they can show.
Okay, great question. What's on the BTN tonight?
Or we're gonna get Iowa versus Rutgers baseball.
TV guide. Okay, anybody? Joey, would you like to put in any guesses?
It's probably a replay of a football game for one of the Big Ten teams.
Okay.
Maybe it's a Journey episode.
Maybe it is the Journey. I typed in the Big Ten Network on tvguide.com and it doesn't even recognize it as a real thing. I know, but it was going to take too long. And I realize that this has now taken too long.
It'll be more efficient just to
great.
turn on the TV and look on the guide.
I know it. Do you think it
Let
would
him
be
have
more
it, Joey.
efficient?
Let him have it. He knows he screwed up. This is when you have to really go in strong.
Yeah, it's I type in BTN and it's giving me a whole bunch of different things. Anyway, I'll find it as we go on throughout the show today. But welcome, or as we go on throughout the next 2 minutes. Welcome everybody. Friday, and we're ready to send you off for the weekend. We have a big Did you find it instantaneously?
Yeah, I mean it's April 18th, right? No, excuse me, it's April 17th, and this is a re-air that'll show at 4 a.m. We get big men's lacrosse, Michigan at Ohio State, 6 p.m.
It's the game.
Followed by
lacrosse.
the game. Followed by
I seriously don't understand. Like, what is wrong with these people?
big men's lacrosse, Penn State at Rutgers, 8 p.m.
It was so on
It's
the
a
nose.
trash network run by morons.
I don't get it.
There's nothing else
They
to say about it.
But how do you screw it up so bad?
They get plenty
Because
of
they
channels.
don't care. They have a certain amount of sports that they have to televise, and they just check boxes on it.
In what
There's
world?
a certain amount of teams that have to be on a certain amount of times, and they check boxes on it.
Well, I don't know this for sure, but they play more lacrosse than baseball on that channel.
Undoubtedly.
So they have to play more lacrosse than baseball.
I don't understand how you can't just put, and they have Big Ten baseball, Minnesota at UCLA, which starts at 10 p.m. So that's their
there
baseball
you
game
go.
of
Rock
the day.
Chalowski.
So like I don't understand how it can't count if you just run these things at like 7 a.m. on Sunday as a tape, a taped version of it. It doesn't need to be live. I can't imagine what the lacrosse ratings are.
They have to be horrible.
If you asked, if we were somehow on Ohio State's campus and you asked 100 people, how many do you think even know they have a lacrosse team?
Yeah.
4?
Out of what?
Out of 100, just 100
population?
people, just 100 person straw poll.
Yeah, maybe 4. They probably heard of the sport lacrosse, so they probably feel like they had a team. Yeah,
maybe.
But at the same time, they probably don't know that they have a baseball team either.
I did this once when I was at Tulane and asked if they knew who Willie Fritz was. I probably asked 50 people.
Oh,
2.
We should send you out there to do a Tiny Mike video with Ohio State
I would
people.
love that. Big Mike, Tiny Mike.
Do you know about lacrosse? Do you know about baseball? Have you heard of Nick Swisher?
Can you name one Ohio State basketball player?
Oh, good one.
Because they don't show up for that either.
No, they really don't.
They really only show up for one sport, and it's football.
Yeah.
And they show up big.
Yeah, they do. They do show up big. So that's a stupid network, and they have made a lot of bad decisions as far as
they get plenty of channels. They could just put one sport on one and then put the other on the other.
That's true, Joey. They have all the
doesn't make
alternate
sense.
channels these days too.
They only utilize them for the football season when they got games at
Severe
the same
told me
time.
once that they don't actually have access to those channels in non-football season. Like they
Thank
only
you, Michael.
exist for football season.
Yeah, Joey, take that in
Wow.
your scheduling pipe and shove it.
I can't win them all.
Smoke it.
I cannot win them all, unfortunately.
Call them Michael schedules.
The scheduling pipe was the part.
That's what Mike S stands for.
It would have just
Mike-
been pipe. Okay.
Mikey,
But scheduling pipe.
Mikey schedules getting it going. But yeah, they also could at the very least, have their streaming service be not a pile of trash.
Here's an idea. Utilize Peacock. Utilize.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Utilize
NBC's looking for content.
Yeah, utilize a streaming network that's that football and basketball is using for the last 2 years.
That's a tremendous idea, Joey. You're
Oh,
back.
good. 10 a.m. We get an Ohio State at Michigan Classic, Football Classic, 10 a.m. tomorrow. And then we get spring football throughout the day on Saturday. More lacrosse. If you're like, I haven't gotten enough lacrosse, at 4 o'clock, you get lacrosse. 6 o'clock, more lacrosse.
I don't understand. It's like 4-1 for lacrosse games.
I think there's a certain quota, and the Big Ten just realized, oh no, we got to get all these games on. Let's just put it on this week.
Okay, but you guys have both mentioned this quota. They have sailed over the quota weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Like I said, it's 4-1. And where's the quota for baseball? Have they hit the quota for baseball? Because I know they've hit the quota for lacrosse. They have played 72 lacrosse games in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, they get they'll have 2 baseball games the entire weekend. Minnesota at UCLA and Northwestern at Michigan.
It's so bad.
Those are your games from the beloved Big Ten network.
We're going to try and do a better job than the BTN today. That's what we're going to do. And hopefully we
turn the mics on, so boom.
Yeah,
done.
we have succeeded already. Today, coming up on the show, we have guests here on a Friday. Jake Sorensen will join us at 9:15. Perfect day for Jake to join at my own peril, but perfect day for Jake to join because the Royals have done another disaster yesterday.
But are they still going to go to the World Series?
Yeah, his open will taunt him before he even comes on.
He will. He will be canceling people today on the show, so we're looking forward to that at 9:15. Max Olson moves back a day and appears on Friday at 8:30. So we're excited for that. And in honor of the big volleyball celebration, which is not on the BTN tonight, but is on Nebraska Public Media, Lincoln Arneal will join us at 7:30 today. That is our lineup. We want to hear from you all, 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Call or text that number. You can tweet at Happenschafe, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. You can email Connor, Mike, or Joey at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers this morning, like Sal, who was taunting you about your baseball team, which almost lost yesterday, Schaefer.
Yeah,
but didn't.
They didn't lose.
Also almost threw a no-hitter, but didn't.
And that has been the story of their almost no-hitters for 40 years.
It really has been. They've been the
I've watched a lot of games
no-hitter
go into
team.
the ninth inning and not finish with a no-hitter.
The Cleveland Guardians / Indians, the preeminent almost no-hitter team in baseball. That's for sure. Elsewhere today, we have City of the Day coming up in a couple minutes. We had to dig a little bit on this one.
Yeah, I was proud of you when I don't know if I responded to the text that I received last night while I was in the middle of trying to get a 2-year-old to stay in bed, which took 3 hours.
That's a long time
there. Yeah, I was proud of what you came up with. I liked it a lot.
Okay, we went topical, and the city itself is not in the news, but a person who is from the city is at the moment. Also, get in your Friday shoutouts. If you'd like to shout out something, maybe you'd like to shout out other networks that aren't the Big Ten network. Maybe you'd like to shout out 1620 The Zone.
Mine as well.
Maybe you'd like to shout out 97.7 The Zone.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd like to shout out Alan Huss. Maybe you'd like to shout out Danny Busboom Kelly.
Okay.
Maybe you'd like to shout out Cooper Katsky. Any one of these people. You could shout them out. Maybe you're the person who tweets at us about shouting out Norbit every week.
I bet Norbit will get a shout out.
That will probably happen yet again. So there's that for you coming up at 8:45 today. Oh, everybody's refreshing their page for the meeting minutes today on the
big Regents meeting.
Yep, I got my Regents page. Actually, I don't have my there it is. I have my Regents page up Where are the minutes to the meetings?
Or the minute.
I need the minutes.
Can't believe we didn't send Josh Peterson to be down there live as it happened.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if they're going to publish them today, but they do send them out to the major publications, of which we are not one, sadly. How do we get in the club?
Probably just need to get your name on an email list.
Yeah.
Actually, let me reach out to some comms people at Nebraska and see if we can get on an email list.
But this particular email list where we immediately get the meetings minutes blasted out. By the way, I never want them going forward. I only want it today.
Okay. I'll see what I can do.
All right. Thank you, Schaefer. He's working hard over here. Sure. Why not? Let's take a phone call on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Here's Creighton Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Good morning, Andrew.
What's up?
Hello. Hey, Peacock Sports is terrible. Look, isn't lacrosse a big East Coast thing?
Yes, it is a big East Coast thing.
They're terrible.
And by big, I mean 8 people care.
Yeah.
No, it's actually it's a big deal on the East Coast.
But it still doesn't draw people in attendance or ratings.
That is correct. Yes.
I'm not saying it should. I'm not saying. I just wondered if it was Big East. Can you tell me a little bit about this 7-2 guy Creighton got, and are we done portaling?
Mr. Rosa, thank you for the call, Andrew. Appreciate it. No, I don't believe that Creighton is done portaling. I think they have a couple spots to fill. Now, there is a complicating factor here that we will talk about a little bit later on in the show, which is this whole 5-for-5 thing. I don't know why you would need to have all 15 spots that you could possibly fill on your roster full. And so I think basketball coaches think that anyway. And so if you can hold 1 or 2 back, for a variety of different things, but the thing that people are holding spots back for this year is people who you thought were gone are coming back. When this rule gets enacted, I don't know if that will be the case for anyone that wore a Creighton uniform last year. A lot of guys have decided to start their pro careers or just moved on in general. We'll see. But there's a lot going on in that category. So I don't think they're done portaling. I still think there's another guy or two that they're going to add. I think they have 12 full right now. The Rosa guy, I just don't he's a raw 7'2" junior college big. I don't really expect him to contribute for Creighton next year. That was my read on the situation.
Moses Abraham.
Not Moses Abraham played.
Yes. Yes, he did.
I don't think
you don't think Rosa can go in and throw down some dunks and get some blocks in 2 minutes a game?
I don't think he's gonna play. No.
He'll play at least a couple minutes at some point.
All right, put it on the list.
It's on the board.
Mr. Rosa.
He'll get minutes.
He's gonna get some minutes next year.
I almost want to go so far as to say he'll get minutes in the Nebraska game.
Minutes in the Nebraska game. Why is that?
Why not?
Why specifically the Nebraska game?
The
Oswald's going to get in foul trouble
and,
against Nebraska's non-existent white
Sam
3-point shooting big man.
Somehow generate fouls.
I don't know how that's going to happen.
This guy,
he's going to run out there and foul him shooting threes.
Weirder things have happened.
That is definitely true.
Like that time that Kalkbrenner didn't have any field goals.
That was really weird. I'm glad you admitted that.
Well, I've always thought it was weird.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's no part of me. It doesn't mean it isn't hilarious.
The way I hear it from some people is like, oh, yeah, he just stinks. I'm like, no, I think it's weird.
I'm pretty sure we can agree he doesn't stink.
I don't know. People say what they say. People say what they say.
People do be saying.
So we'll see what happens with Mr. Rosa, but I don't really expect him to contribute much. I think Creighton's got, they have Oswin at the 5, and then my guess would be their backup option after that at this moment is somebody who's already on the roster, somebody like Jason Green or whatever, or even Isaac Trout to play like a small ball 5 and run around and do that stuff. And then I think you're probably looking for another one as well. So we will see, as Mike Schaefer has Moses. Didn't he go by a different name at first?
No, I don't think so. Pretty sure it's Moses Abraham.
Who am I thinking of?
I'm not entirely sure because Moses Abraham came from Georgetown. He was he was a transfer before the portals. I think he was a grad transfer, so he's immediately eligible. which made him a nice get for Nebraska at the time.
I remember that guy stunk. That guy stunk. Moses Ayegba. I was right. Moses Ayegba.
Okay.
That was his name.
I don't remember it being that before. Maybe it was before he got to Nebraska.
No, he was that when he was first at Nebraska. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he changed his name to Moses Abraham, or he wanted to go by Moses Abraham. Yes.
Interesting.
Remember this time well.
I only remember him as Moses Abraham. And I did forget he broke his hand that season, which cost him some playing time.
I was getting him and Leslie Smith confused.
Oh, man.
Leslie Smith was another useless big man.
Oh, definitely not useless. He was big in their 2013-14 season. Big in the way that anyone that wasn't Taran Petaway.
Right.
Was big.
Right.
But he was valuable then. His ACL tear really hurt them the following year because they didn't have another big man. Like Moses was their other big man, and that was problematic.
Formerly known as Ayegba.
Apparently.
Okay. That is the quick update on what's the deal with this Rosa guy, which I appreciate the question, but I don't know. I don't necessarily expect him to contribute, although we will see, Andrew. All right, let's take a break. Off and running on a Friday. Our City of the Day is coming up in about 20 minutes. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. I must have seen that video of Shane Comine just standing there on the mound at the College World Series like 50 times yesterday. Did you see this?
No. I mean, I know generally of which you speak, but I didn't see it yesterday.
One of the aggregator accounts, like college baseball aggregator accounts, just like sent it out, and they were like, Shane Comine was strong arm emoji or something, whatever it was. And then I saw it like 600 more times. I think that's partly just how the algorithm works, where you like interact with it one time.
Yeah,
and then
that's basically how.
And then it just starts showing you the same tweet 1,000 times. But then I saw a bunch of tweets about Shane Comine yesterday as well.
I wonder why.
Probably off of that aggregated video.
Could be. People were like, "Oh, there's engagement happening here. We got to be part of it."
Yep. Maybe.
So Joey Cantillo, Cleveland pitcher, is from Hawaii, and as good as he might ever be, he'll never be my favorite Hawaiian starting pitcher.
He can't be.
It is really hard to explain like how much reverence I have for Shane Comine.
I don't know a person in this state who like doesn't like when you say Shane Comine, they will say,
up.
"Oh,
yeah, no, it's
oh man,
it's that." Like, it is very much that. Like, the guy pitched through a broken jaw. He was, like, in an era in which you just took the ball and shoved whenever told to.
Yeah, he threw 9,000 pitches in a game.
Like, he was so unimposing that, like, you were just blown away by the brilliance of the results of all of it because nothing about it seemed to make any sense. The video was Mike Patrick, like, he was getting ready for a College World Series start. And Mike Patrick was on there, and he was like, yeah, his fastball goes about 88. Sometimes he'll run it up to 92 or something like that. And he's just kind of standing there. And they're like, dude, this guy threw like 200 innings in college baseball. Yeah. He's probably the best pitcher in the country. And yet he mystified an outstanding Big 12 conference.
Yeah, he's somehow getting all these guys out on a very, very consistent basis. And this was this was like the heat of the gorilla ball era in college baseball, where dudes are hitting like 27 home runs a year or whatever it was, and the bats are trampolines and stuff like that. And meanwhile, you have Shane Comine, who was just his senior year in 2002, 13 starts, 10-0, including 3 complete games and a shutout. 96 and 2/3 innings with a 2.33 ERA and 115 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Opponents hit 178 off of Shane Comine in 2002, which was good. He went 14-2 in his junior year and took him to the College World Series.
I think it's like him and Gordon are basically the two biggest players of that incredible era.
I've seen people do the Mount Rushmore, and there's basically no way you can do it without having Shane Comine, Alex Gordon, Darren Erstad, and then you could have your fourth whoever you want it to be.
Like you pick like whoever your favorite would be out of that, and whether it's a Matt Hopper, a Jamal Strong, or a John Cole, or Joe Simakaitis. Or whatever.
I don't think you'd probably put those people on it.
But I'm just saying, like, you could pick whatever you want. Like, the thing is,
Ken Harvey.
You're going to end up with someone from that era more than likely.
Probably.
Because even the good players that come out of the post eras, the Ryan Bolts, the people of that.
Nice.
It doesn't, like, Jake Myers is going to have a longer Major League Baseball career, and he just will come up relatively short compared to a Jamal Strong, just because of what they did at Nebraska. Jake Myers played 2 different positions. Schwellenbach could maybe be the argument for the fourth if you were going to go with someone that wasn't.
Unfortunately for those guys, they played in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they played in the Big Ten.
And none of their games were on TV.
You're not a lacrosse player. You're just not going to get the same run.
Not that any of the baseball games were on TV back in the day either, but I mean, there was more on Fox Sports Net. Probably.
Fox Sports Net, and then I feel like Nebraska Public Media,
they did
then any TV showed a ton of games when I was younger.
They were doing
and by a ton. I mean, you just got a lot of Sunday games.
So I saw some people making some comparisons, like or at least asking the question, where does this Nebraska staff, like where does it go in the lexicon? And like it immediately can't be top 5 or whatever, because just those teams back in the early
Sure.
2000s were just, I mean, they were dominant from top to bottom. There's certainly no Shane Komine. There's no Jabba Chamberlain or anything like that. It's a really good staff, though. I mean, and they're going to have to be extra good this weekend when Nebraska plays USC, who has one of the, the best, pitching from a numbers perspective in the country.
Yeah, it is a huge series on tap for Nebraska. They're going to have to be. This is where you hope that your offense, which has been pretty good against everybody you played, can show it against maybe. I don't know if it's the best set of pitching that they've faced.
I think it is
up there. I mean, it's certainly going to be up there. And usually, I mean, great pitching can neutralize great hitting, but you got to scratch out your runs where you have the opportunities. Where no easy outs. The bottom of the order was really good against Creighton. I think that's where Nebraska scored the bulk, if not all of their runs, was from the bottom of the order. And so, Bruns has talked about that on Mondays when he's been on here, that the fact that they're so deep 1 through 9, that there's not really easy outs. I mean, there's nowhere for a pitcher to really kind of take it at bat off, if you would.
USC's Friday night starter, who you will see tonight in the form of Mason Edwards. He is first in the Big Ten in ERA. He is third in the country in ERA at this moment with a 1.35. Only 2 players in the country better. One of them, have you seen this Jackson Flora guy at Santa Barbara?
No.
Tall, lanky guy. He has a 0.63.
Whoa.
And he's qualified,
whoa.
Yeah. He doesn't give up any runs.
Whoa.
Okay, maybe I should just click and just give you the rundown of this Jackson.
I need to know more.
I gotta get the stats on him. It took me to Santa Barbara's page. That's not what I wanted. I wanted Flora in particular. I'll find it in a second. Edwards also number 1 in the country among pitchers in hits allowed per 9, 3.5 hits allowed per 9, 3.54.
Let me guess, he doesn't walk people either.
Let's see. Let's take a look. Well, you could do. Well, he's number 1 in the country in strikeouts with 95.
This is looking good.
He is very good at strikeout to walk ratio, 3.65. I'm just looking at the
You're basically getting Pedro Martinez in 1999 is what you're telling me.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what we're looking at here.
All right. Well,
good luck.
Hey, they've had confidence with their bats all year. So we'll see if they can, and then the hard part for Nebraska is that you're shuffling your own rotation. You're going, what is it? Is it Jassa or Katsky?
You're going Katsky tonight.
Yeah, my brain went blank because I think the conventional wisdom is you bump everybody a day, but they moved Katsky up to Friday, and then I assume you go Jassa Saturday, Blackowitz, and Sunday.
So yes, that is exactly what they're doing. The total overall deal here for Edwards, the starter for USC, 53 1/3 so far this year in his 9 starts, 1.35 ERA, 95 strikeouts, 26 walks. He has given up 8 earned runs the entire season.
So 9 starts. So he's not going super deep.
9 starts, 53 1/3.
That's about an average of 6 innings.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, yeah, I guess you could tax. I mean, it's not like he doesn't walk anyone. I mean, he's walked 26 guys this year, but the strikeout numbers are just way up.
Yeah, I mean, you blow everything by everybody.
So I guess I don't know what his what his stuff is like. All I could see is his numbers, but
well, it sounds like his whip is real low.
It sounds like he's pretty good. That's my take.
I think that's probably a good take.
I'm going to give you this.
I want to know more about this Flora guy.
Yeah,
Flora and fauna.
The stat database with the NCAA stat database is just it's difficult to come by. Sometimes it's not the most user friendly thing, which is okay. So, who am I looking for? You're gonna have to give me a few seconds here and give me a chance to find it. But
6'5", huh?
Yeah, he's a big guy. Jackson Flora is his name. He's a UC Santa Barbara pitcher. So far this year, he's made 9 starts. He's 57 1/3. He has struck out 71 and walked 18, but he has an ERA of 0.63, which means he has given up 4 earned runs over 57 and a third innings so far this year. He's a interesting. Now Santa Barbara doesn't play anybody but the kind of small ball hitting West Coast type of team.
He gave up no runs in 5 innings to Oregon. He is currently on that's 19.1. That's 29 and 34 straight innings. Nope, he gave up 1 unearned run. So it's been at least 5 starts without an earned run for Jackson Floro.
He's good.
I would say so, yeah.
But this Edwards guy might be. I mean, he might be challenging him for the best pitcher.
Well, the Edwards guy is pitching in a better conference,
no doubt. And USC, I think we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week. It's kind of your classic West Coast team. I think they're just doing everything. They're doing all of the West Coast things really well. They're pitching. They're playing defense. I mean, the pitching is obviously the thing that stands out. Nebraska is interesting because I think they can match up with one of these teams. Now they have to be really, really airtight as far as mistakes, and like one little thing is gonna throw this series into a different thing. Sort of like it was at last weekend against Oregon, probably with less runs. Although the wind always plays such a big factor at Haymarket Park when you're playing, who knows what that's going to be doing this weekend. Nebraska's well-rounded. They are prepared to sort of win this series. I should say they are capable of winning this series. But it's going to come down to a couple things this weekend. And their starting pitching has to be really good.
Yeah, you got to get some length out of those guys because you want to minimize the amount of times that you have to use the same bullpen arm, 2-3 days in a row, or minimize the total amount of pitchers you even have to throw out.
Adilo writes in he wants to put Jabba as the fourth face on the.
Yeah, that's a fair one. I think that's fair. His time at Nebraska, there's no doubt that he was outstanding, and then his post-playing career was brilliant when it was brilliant. And then
when I think of 05, I think of Jabba first.
Really?
Yeah, not Gordon. I think of Jabba first. There's just something about, I don't know. Was
Gordon the Golden Spikes winner?
He was the best player in the country. He was the best player in the country that year. But like what I think about Jabba Chamberlain throwing like mid-90s on a Friday night against all the other Big 12 aces. Like that's what I remember first about that season.
I remember seeing Jabba play in Legion, and he just absolutely hit a tank.
Sure.
Just out there pitching, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize it at the time. I would see this like 25 years later, watching Shohei Ohtani or whatever it is.
That's true.
Jabba
was Ohtani in Kearney Legion ball.
Pretty much.
Speaking of Ohtani, a former teammate of his, Mike Trout. Mike Trout is from a place called Millville, New Jersey. Mike Trout hit 5 home runs against the Yankees over the week. Nobody has done that, or 4 home runs against the Yankees, or maybe he hit another one.
I think he hit 5, but he did it in 4 consecutive games, which has never happened.
Never been done before. So in honor of Mike Trout, we are headed to Millville, New Jersey, our city of the day, coming up next on 1620.
We learned this city. We learned this city on Happer and Schaefer. Learned this city. We learned this city on Happer and Schaefer.
Okay, so by the way, before we get to our city of the day, Sam ranks all the Nebraska baseball teams. 2005, 2001, 2002, 1999, 2000, 2003, 2008, 2021, and 2014. Since the current team is in the 2014-2021 conversation and maybe could get all the way past 2008 with a postseason run. I have no notes, actually. I think that's accurate. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I would need to like look at it longer, but I mean, off face, I mean, the first four there seem completely and utterly accurate.
Mhm.
And so then it's just sort of slotting in what you enjoyed the most after that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that works for me.
This could be an enjoyable one. We will see. And a big part of moving that thing forward is starting or happening anyway this weekend. Mike Trout. Did you know that Mike Trout has the nickname of the Millville Meteor?
No, I didn't know that.
Someone somewhere at some point has called him that. Mike Trout hit home runs in 4 consecutive days at Yankee Stadium this week, becoming the first person ever to do it. And I'm glad we're having a little bit of a Trout-assance here. He was hurt, of course, all of last year and has been hurt for his entire career.
It was actually 2 years ago that he played most of last year. Last year was one of the years that he actually played a lot relative to the previous ones. He had 556 plate appearances, which is more than he had the previous 7 seasons.
Yeah, so he's been hurt.
A lot lately, yeah.
And he is, people wondered about what it was going to be like going forward. He is age 34. And so we're having a little bit of a Trout-assance here, which I'm happy about.
Absolutely.
And because how could you dislike Mike Trout?
Some people famously said that he's one of the most overrated players in the MLB.
I believe the quote was bust, actually.
There you go.
Which is wildly inaccurate. Don't ask questions on that one.
Yeah.
So we head to Millville, New Jersey. Millville, New Jersey. To find our city of the day today in Cumberland County, New Jersey. It's in southern New Jersey, and it's inland. Not too long to get to the beach areas over there in Millville. Sort of part of like in New Jersey and a lot of these northeast towns, they do like townships, and there's sort of a lot of them, but there's always sort of like one hub town. And the town where Trout was actually born is not Millville, although he went to Millville Senior High. The Mike Trout, the place where he was actually born is called Vineland, and that is
or Vinland. Could it be Vinland? I don't know.
It could be. I'm not sure, but that I feel like, based off of my small internet research here, is actually sort of like the main kind of hub town, and Millville is where he went to high school and around there. So, what do you know, Schaefer? What have you seen about Millville?
Yeah, it seems like Vineland or Vinland was like 2.5 miles away from Millville, and then they sort of were joined together and then separated. So there's
a history,
city history there.
There's a history.
It seems like a very industrial city built along the river, and so you'd have things shipped up and down the river in terms of manufacturing. I saw somewhere that glass was a big part of Millville.
It's a glass town.
It's a glass town, and so the Wheaton Glass Factory was a big thing at one time. They have the Glasstown Arts District is named for the Millville Arts District.
Well,
so
if it's
a lot of glass making.
If it's calling itself Glasstown, then I mean,
I looked up that too. There's a lot of communities that want to be known as Glasstown, USA,
really,
by the way. So There's one in Missouri, and I think I saw another in Kentucky. And so,
shout out to Glasstown.
yeah, I didn't know there was that much competition for Glasstown. What, 26,000 people currently inhabit Millville or so?
That is the idea. Yeah. It's not a very highly populated town, but it's a smaller town in and of itself, and that is where Mike Trout hails from. As far as other people that are from Millville or around Millville, not very many. You'd be surprised. I mean, it's Jersey. I mean, you would think that there would be a high concentration of people who sort of just come out of the area. As far as the notable people are concerned, not a whole lot of
People that you would know. And
yeah,
I would know.
notable people, right? There's some athletes and things like that. I think there have been a couple of like Millville high school athletes over the years that have sort of popped up, and I'm like, oh, that's Mike Trout. But I have never once referred to Mike Trout
as the Millville Meteor.
As the Millville Meteor.
Yeah,
No.
so Chase Petty is currently a Major League Baseball pitcher for the Reds, is the one name that I've seen on here.
1801, Millville was first organized as a township. It became a city in 1866, and until 1913, Millville operated under a mayor-council form of government where the mayor was elected by the people. In 1913, a change of the form of government to the Walsh Act was passed, and the commission form of government became the way the city was run. The city is one of 30 municipalities statewide that use the commission form of government. Under this form of government, as used in Millville, the governing body is comprised of 5 commissioners who are elected to 4-year concurrent terms of office at large on a nonpartisan basis as part of the November general election. At reorganization meeting held after each election, each commissioner is assigned to a department to oversee, and one commissioner is selected among its members to serve as the quote-unquote mayor and another as the vice mayor. Basically, mayor by committee.
Cool.
But one person always gets the tag.
Closer by committee, and one person always gets the tag mayor by committee. And this is a new one for me.
Yeah.
I like this.
Apparently there's 30 towns in New Jersey, 30 municipalities in New Jersey who have this.
Yeah, I don't know that that's a thing out
Some
here.
of the local government and the township and the roads and all the stuff, it gets really wacky and very, very different than what we're used to around here in the Northeast. That's part of the reason why I like looking at the Northeast towns.
No,
they're all really it's all odd.
Well, there's all just older. It started sooner, and it's the way of doing things is just different.
Roads is the next question. Now, there are no major interstates that go through Millville, New Jersey, but there is a throughway, a highway, which there's a lot of places that have the moniker of Veterans Memorial Highway or Veterans Memorial Parkway, but it doubles as Highway 55 that will take you basically from Cape May, which is at the southern tip of New Jersey, all the way into Philadelphia, which is in the west, basically on the west side of the river that splits New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
What's the closest interstate?
76.
Okay, there we go. We have that. Have you been to New Jersey, Happer?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
I've only been briefly, so that's why I want to go for the Nebraska.
I mean,
Providence.
it was definitely brief, but we
Did you spend the night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we stayed there when we went to the city once, and but obviously not this part of New Jersey. Certainly more in the northern part of New Jersey. This is in the southern part of New Jersey. The Delaware Bay splits the state of New Jersey and Delaware on the southern side. Wonder how long it would take to get to Atlantic City from here. Let's find
Probably an hour.
We are late on a break. Let's take it. We're back after this. All right, welcome back. Now, I don't know if we're the first show out of the 3 on 1620 The Zone to miss the break in the not missing breaks era. But if we are, I'd like to take full and complete responsibility. We blew it. We blew it.
You can't take full responsibility. I was
Well,
sitting
I mean,
here
I
looking
was-
right
I
at it.
gotta
I
take
said
responsibility. I've been saying I've been the person not forgetting things, and I forget to send you guys.
Yeah,
a
Joey,
break.
what were you
You're
doing?
an idiot.
What were you doing?
nothing. It was a collective
I was
failure.
just-
That's what it was.
I was just dozing off.
And I was
daydreaming on a Friday.
You were thinking about
I
Millville.
was too
Joey
busy
was
reading
probably
about
working on
Millville.
another great graphic for the break screens, and I was staring right at the clock, wondering why we weren't going to break without saying anything. So
I would
I
say
have as
that
much
you have a
failure
bad
as
look.
anybody,
That's
yeah.
a bad look for you. Yeah.
I just didn't understand. I was like, normally we go to break by now.
Did you think that maybe we didn't have to or something? Or
I was wondering, I was trying to see if the number was lower than the amount of time that would be
yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's the right math.
when I
yeah.
noticed that it was not, was at about the same time that both of you looked at it and was like, oh,
There we go. There we go. I don't know what it sounded like or what happened out in central Nebraska, but we apologize for screwing up your clocks this morning and missing it by a few seconds. But here on 1620 The Zone, you probably didn't notice anything. Or you probably just noticed that we randomly took a break very quickly and didn't really give Millville, New Jersey its due. Actually, I think it got its due.
we spent plenty of time on
Yeah,
Millville.
we did. We'll come up with a better city of the day next week. Sorry, Millville.
I don't think it was that bad of one. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I kind of like the randomness of it.
Lincoln Arneal is going to join us to talk about volleyball coming up in a little while here. It's a big day for volleyball around here. Max Olson will join us in the 8 o'clock hour. Excited to talk to Jake Sorensen in the 9 o'clock hour about the destruction of the Kansas City Royals. And by the way, later on in the show, remember that pair ratings thing for baseball that I brought up yesterday, the bracket sim basically, and you were like, hey, we should make this be the bracket sim of the day. So they have a bracket simulator on the web. Like I found it.
Whoa.
So we're going to do that. Bracket sim of the day is back in baseball form
Here for a while.
which is what I'm excited about.
I mean, we've got like a month and a half of bracket sim.
Yeah, we can do one a day or a week or whenever we want. Like
We'll
you know.
certainly do it today to finish out the week, and then we can discuss if we want it to be an everyday thing.
And get in your Friday shout outs. Whatever you'd like to shout out, please send them
That might just be a Friday thing.
our way. Bracket sims.
End the week off with a bracket sim.
Kind of like it is a Friday and a Monday.
Friday and a Monday.
Start and end the week
Yeah,
that way.
coming
Yeah,
off of the weekend of
Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
Going into the
Yeah, that
weekend
works.
of baseball. Finishing off the midweek of baseball. Good idea. All right. So 7 o'clock hour back here on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Schaefer was giving me a brief rundown on what the latest is with Nebraska basketball as it pertains to the transfer portal. I couldn't help but notice that nothing much has happened. For Nebraska basketball.
Been very quiet, which doesn't feel particularly great
Yeah.
as it relates for Nebraska.
So
basketball.
yeah, what is your not your read on why, but like has it sucked some of the positivity? I mean, because you flash back a couple weeks ago, and obviously nobody could take away the great season that Nebraska had. But I think the thought process was going into the offseason was like, oh yeah, I mean they cracked the code. I mean, this is sort of the formula, and now they're going to be able to to really double down. And who wouldn't want to play in this system and all those different things? And I don't know. A couple weeks after the season has ended, I don't know that it feels that way anymore.
Yeah, I go back to a conversation we had going into the start of it where I was like, I have no idea how this is going to play out. But if there's anything that I feel good about, it's that even last year when everyone felt like they had a bad portal, they ended up having the best season. So it's like,
True.
how much immediate takeaways should we have from this when you have no idea how it all looks together? They got a critical guy, I think, in Sam Orm. I think there's no question he was a top target for them. As it falls from there, I mean, if they end up with a Trevin Lenhart, I'm going to feel very good about it, because that to me is a critical piece in all of this, is getting a guy that can be a ball handler for you. He, as I've said a few times, feels like he's a pretty strong replacement of what you had in Sam Hoiberg, in that he can affect the game in a lot of different ways. and he's long at 6'4", 6'5", and he plays even longer than that with the wingspan. So he's kind of the one where it's like if they come away with that and Sam Orm and the rest of it just kind of feels like it's filler, I'm gonna feel pretty good about it. I mean, the biggest two things that have occurred: you're getting Sanford back, no question. You're getting Frager back, no question. So you have a lot that you're building off of that. Now, is Bowden Kapke the best that they could have done? With big men, it seems like it, because they're just, unfortunately, their resources aren't where,
Yeah.
So
that's what I want to talk about. That's what I want to talk about. And so, like, let me say this first. It is okay that, I mean, actually, you know what? Let's go back even a step further. Everybody overshot it. All right. So I don't know. I mean, we talked about this at times throughout the last couple of weeks. I don't know if some people were under the guise and the idea that Nebraska was going to go out there and they were going to dominate the portal because they were going to get all this money that was attached to the program now because of what Fred did and this and this and this and this and who would, like I said before, who would want to play in it and all those different things. They were never going to be one of the highest spenders as far as the NIL open market for a couple different reasons. Number one, the funds aren't available to them.
Right.
Number two, and I think this is a part of this as well. Like you said, like you kind of outlined, Schaefer, it's not like they need to replace their entire roster.
Right.
And so these numbers that go around is like, oh yeah, you need to spend X amount of money on the open market to get your players. And I like the figures that sort of draw it out as here's what you need to have a basketball team. And I think Nebraska is certainly spending more than they ever have on a basketball team. And like I said, some of that is just a sign of the times. But it's okay that they don't have as much or they aren't willing to spend as much as everyone thought. If you whipped yourself into a frenzy over this over the last couple of weeks of like, oh, they're going to do this and they're going to do this, they're going to get the best guy and the best 6 guys in the portal or whatever it is, then I just, think you have a fundamental misunderstanding of how this works. It's difficult. It's really, really hard to do. And they weren't going to go out and get the best guys. With that being said, it maybe has fallen a little bit short of even modest expectations.
Yeah,
as far as the money is
right.
concerned.
I can't speak for what everyone was thinking coming into it, but again, like when we had that conversation, I felt like you sort of have to assume that they have certain players that they want. They're going to target those players, and you have to hope for the best in that regard. And again, the big thing, you kept your 2 critical players in Sanford and Frager. You did lose Berkay, but it sure seems like financially that wasn't going to be a fit. And even on the court, there's ways that, you're going to have to try to replace the toughness and the emotional leadership side of things. You can probably replace the offensive stuff that you were getting from them pretty easily. So it's in the aggregate. Can you be good enough defensively without Rinkmast and Berkay in the front court? That remains very much to be seen. We don't know what it's all going to look like. I'm glad they kept Leo Curtis. Like, I think that's a small but potentially important thing if he continues to develop and can be even just a depth piece for you this year as a guy who comes in if there's foul trouble or what have you. I mean, I kind of wish we would have saw him more during the season last year, which is a small quibble given everything else that played out. So overall, I mean, I totally understand if it feels underwhelming, but it did last year too. It did the year before that. Like they've won, I don't know what the exact number is, but they've won somewhere around like 75 games in the last 3 years with teams that you probably wouldn't have guessed were just dominating the transfer portal. So it's coming to the realization that we won't know everything, and it all has to play out. Did you say
72?
I guess 75.
That's 72.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty damn good. And I suspect they're going to have another 20-win season. I don't think they're going to have the year that they had this past year. I think it's a little ridiculous to assume that they can just do that again.
Yeah, and I do think there has to be...
I think they're going to be a quality Big Ten team.
There does have to be, I think, also a squaring up as far as the raised expectations around the program. I do think there has to be a little bit of a squaring up of what last year was. And as I've said many, many times before, this is not a new thing for me. Like, I think what they did last year is repeatable. But I don't think 28 wins in a Sweet 16 is like the new norm. Like,
you think Nebraska being a good college basketball team is a repeatable, sustainable thing?
Yeah, I think
being a record-setting, upwardly mobile top 16 team in the country feels like a stretch still.
Specifically what they did or specifically how they did what they did, I should say, is absolutely repeatable. And they did it with, now the connectivity piece is going to change a little bit based on who you have inside and outside, but they were able to bring that thing together. And I think ultimately the heart of it is there in Sanford, which like we said, last time we talked about this, I don't know that I would have said that at the beginning of the year, but it clearly ended up being that way with him toward the end of the year. And how far does he go up? We'll see. How far does Frager go up? I think, probably quite a bit. But we'll see. And then you have to fill in some pieces, kind of around him. And
you got to stay healthy. But you have things that go right for you.
Like their worth, Nebraska's worth in the offseason isn't going to, you have to do enough in the portal. You have to get guys in the portal, and you have to fill roster spots and get good players. And maybe Nebraska's fallen a little bit short in the get good players category at this moment. But I do think a lot of what they're going to have to do is the same formula as it was last year, which is have those guys in the locker room be 5 times better than the sum of their parts, which I still believe in the coach's ability to do that.
Yeah, and then you're going to have a similar defensive system with Nate Lenzer. And like I said, Sam Orm was a huge target for them. So if that plays out how they hope it plays out, if he's as good as some people think that he could be, that there might be an additional player where it's like you ended up with Frager and Sanford and the versions of them this year that you never saw coming. So some of it is what you're having to replace weren't even the 2 best players at the end of your season. So, part of it is you want the high of being this 28-win team that got to the Sweet 16. They can still get to the Sweet 16. They can maybe get beyond it. It's just going to take a different route than it did a year ago. And they're going to have a different team to do it. And we'll see. I mean, we could have a very different conversation next week if things go poorly or if things go really well for them over the weekend. If you get Trevin Lenhart and Tyreek Coleman, people are going to feel pretty good about that.
When they put out, after the portal dust settles, when they put out not way too early, but too early, top
moderately
25s,
too early,
moderately too early, medium too early, top 25s, when we actually at least know what the rosters are generally going to look like. I don't know where Nebraska is going to fall in that, given how it looks right. Like it probably, 30s, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think I'd be a little bit surprised if they're a preseason top 25 team.
Yeah,
I was going to feel that way almost regardless of what happened.
I don't know when they're going to get.
Part of it is I don't ever have an expectation of Nebraska having a number next to their name in basketball.
Yeah, and so
that's a me thing more than a Nebraska thing.
I do think that changed. That changed a little bit at the tail end of last season when you started to think about what was going to happen coming up next, what was going to happen in the portal, and what they were going to do. And how it was going to be that way, and like I said, I think people overshot it sort of in the first place, and maybe what has happened so far, as far as the money that you've spent or been able to spend, has fallen in even lower, like I said, than modest expectations.
Well,
which doesn't have to be like a death sentence for your team. I want to make that very clear, but it there are some people who are way, way, way up here, and it was never going to be that in the first place. And then there were some people who were like, yeah, I think they could kind of get these same type. I remember what Sanford was last year.
Right.
It's a good player, and that was a good get for them, but nobody thought he was going to be what he was.
Right. Nobody thought Bryce Williams would be what he was.
Right. And so can they create can they find another extremely capable role-playing, plus type of guy out of the haul that they're going to get this offseason? I mean, they're going to have a couple starters out of it. So
Right.
there you go.
Well, and just as sometimes we often discount the opponent that Nebraska's playing, like you sometimes discount the fact that there's other people with money in the portal and there's other people with needs in the portal. And so for Nebraska to be where they're at financially and feel like, okay, we've raised the stakes. Well, so did everybody else. And so you're probably right back, if not even a little worse than you were before. And that's just a reality. And then when you have Frager and you have Sanford, that is a large chunk of your NIL money right there in 2 players.
Yep.
So you have to build around that too. So whatever the number is that Nebraska is going to be at, I think it's fair to assume that 40% to almost 50% of that could end up being tied up into those 2 guys. Particularly if the number on Sanford is what I'm told is accurate. Like that's a sizable amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets you a couple offensive tackles. We'll put it that way. So like right there, I mean, you're putting in a big amount on one player, but he's going to be the engine of your team, and everybody knows it. And he got a pretty nice engine himself. He picked up a new car.
He
after all of the
did?
dust settled on this thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He went out and immediately bought a new car.
Yeah, I'll find this and send it to you.
Fascinating. So there was a good story, and a lot of people have quoted figures over the last several days as far as what you have to do to build a roster and things like that. I saw this piece from CJ Moore in The Athletic. He says the consensus is that the average roster at that level next season, we're talking about a high major level, will be in the $10 to $12 million range, with one general manager estimating that most schools have added at least $2 million to their expected roster cost compared to last season. Another, who said his school was at $5 million last year, said his program will almost double that this year. His team has had success this season, so its administration was invested to try and keep the momentum going. Top-end spenders from last year are mostly staying where they were, but others are playing catch-up, meaning there are more teams that are spending more money. A GM of a program said, quote, "The numbers are insane right now. The GM ballparked the price of the current market. A borderline starter, an agent will start at $1.5 million. A definite starter, but not all conference, $2.5 million. A player projected to be all conference, $3 million and above, and a player projected to be an NBA draft pick, $3 million floor. Quote, basically, it's 30% of your budget. So if you've got $12 million, that guy is likely up to $4 million. And then, we talked about the story that Evan Miyakawa did a couple days ago as far as the individual, player figures are concerned here. The other thing that CJ mentioned that I think, does apply to Nebraska here a little bit is that that schools who are at the, like universities and athletic departments in and of themselves that are at the full rev share cap, and they have a football team and they have to spend money on that. There's a couple more hoops that they have to jump through because the schools without it, say the Big East, schools in the Big East Conference, are able to pull this money from their very legal pool. And there's, the quote unquote rev share pool, and they can go up to whatever number they want to go up, and as long as they're not going up against the cap, which none of the Big East schools, I don't think, are, which was $20.5 million last year and is going to be over, I think, $22 million by estimate this year. So the Big East schools aren't hitting that number, and they can pull from their rev share dollars and then make it work off of that, where the football schools, of course, have to share it with the football money, and there's only a finite amount of resources they could pull from their rev share number. And so then they have to send the rest of the deals, quote unquote, through the CSC, which, we've talked about that before. A lot of that is getting accepted and run through anyway, but it is extra paperwork that these teams have to sort of play off and pull off in order to get to that point. They quoted CJ in this story, said this: "What's actually happening, coaches and GMs say, is that most players are going to the highest bidder, and most programs are operating under a premise of, quote, we'll figure it out later, or how they'll actually get to that number. What's going to happen if they don't do it legally?" Another high major assistant asked, "and are there going to be ramifications for it?" That worry dominates conversations right now with coaches and general managers because they're operating in a space where they don't really know the answers. Initially, the CSC announced last July that it would not clear any collective deals and then backtracked to allow those deals to pass through the clearinghouse. During college football's portal window in January, the surge of deals led to an increase in review time. Quote, I don't think the system was designed with this amount of associated deals in mind, said Brian Seeley, the chief executive officer of the College Sports Commission. He said in a conference call last month. A high major assistant said it's super, super tricky because what the CSC is doing is just denying it. And then they request more and more information and more paperwork, more. They're basically doing what these top legal firms do. They're not saying no. They're just drowning you in paperwork. There is no transparency on their end right now, and it's really hard to exactly understand how you're supposed to get these deals cleared, the second GM said. And then the Big East thing is mentioned. He says, this is reigniting a fear the basketball coaches have had over the last couple of years. Big East teams or any school without a football program have an advantage because their players can be paid straight from their revenue sharing allotment. The thing that we didn't think of at the time, Schaefer, is the paperwork part of it, which seems like it's a big problem right now for the football schools who are trying to compete in basketball.
Well, and this is a huge, to tie this all back to Nebraska, you go to the 18 players that have the lawsuit going on or the legal thing going on with the CSC. A lot of it around the country, people are paying attention because if it does go to a full court case, it could throw the doors open for transparency on the CSC, how they operate, what they're asking for, how they're actually reviewing, if they're reviewing. Because when you get that quote about, the mountain of paperwork, like they're just delaying a lot of things, which then in essence only creates more work for, Brian Seeley. He had a quote where they don't have enough people. Well, some of it is you have thousands and thousands of deals. This whole thing was created with this without the understanding of how much volume was going to be there.
Which is odd.
And then you don't have enough people, but you are turning around and asking for more paperwork on top of it, like as more deals come in. So then, does that stay at the top of the pile or does it go right down to the bottom? So there's
take another number, get back in line.
A whole host of this that random Nebraska court case, which, involves Playfly Sports. So Nebraska can try to effectively funnel money through its media rights operator. This whole thing just is baffling. Like all of these words that I'm saying have nothing to do with playing on the actual court or on the field, but this is a huge part of what's happening this offseason.
Especially for a program like Nebraska, who just saw a bigger and newer influx of outside money coming into specifically their basketball program and people who want to support it because of what they did at the end of last season.
And they're not using their rev share.
And they can't use their rev share money because it's all tied up.
Right.
It's all tied up in other sports, including and most notably football. So, it makes it tricky. It makes it tricky for Nebraska. I see Price Sanford's car.
Yeah, this is the Husker Auto Group Facebook page.
All right. Nice.
It's a 2026 GLE Coupe.
Nice. Sure, he gets a nice little, he puts that picture on social media, gets a nice little discount or something like that. Take a picture, and here you go. Here's your car. Congratulations to the car-owning duo of Braden's Frager and Price Sanford.
Did Frager get a car?
Yes,
too?
that's what Kyle says on YouTube. So
I haven't seen Frager's car.
The Car Boys.
Okay, was it also on Husker Auto Group?
I'm not sure. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit of volleyball. We have a big celebration of volleyball tonight. Downtown in Omaha, DJ Sokol Arena, Creighton in Nebraska. Go in the springtime. We'll get caught up on what's going on with spring volleyball with Lincoln Arneal coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, let's talk some volleyball. Yeah, volleyball in the month of April. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer back with you on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by Lincoln Arneal, writing for Husker Max and doing the Volleyball State podcast. Good morning, Lincoln. What's up?
We're talking volleyball? I thought we were talking AL Central baseball.
Well, that's on the agenda. That's on the meeting
Okay,
minutes.
Would you like to
will.
start there with your Twins being significantly better than anyone could have imagined?
It's early.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought we were talking about Twins being in last place at this point. My expectations were so low to start the season, so I like to soak up as much of this glory as I can before they fall apart.
We all know that April doesn't count for real anything as signed by a Kansas City Royals fan.
How far away are we? How far away from Cody Clemens being better than Roger Clemens are we at this point?
Wow.
Oh, probably at least a couple weeks. Just a couple weeks. We're getting to that territory. He's going to hit a couple more home runs, and all will be forgotten about the Rocket.
All right. We'll probably touch on the AL Central as we go on throughout this this conversation here. But let's go to volleyball with Lincoln Arneal here. All right. So first things first. I mean, before we get to tonight in the big volleyball celebration in Omaha, let's talk about the events of yesterday, where the Big Ten announced that it was launching a Big Ten volleyball tournament. What was your initial? I mean, you've had a little bit of time to sort of marinate in this because it's kind of been it feels like it's been in the works for a little while here. But what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Like, what's it mean for Nebraska? What does it mean for sort of the league? What's it mean going forward?
Yeah, I thought this was somewhat inevitable once the SEC relaunched their tournament last year, and you heard how much they raved about it, and then you saw the success that the SEC teams had in the NCAA tournament and how it prepared them for that one-off, lose and you're done type of atmosphere and kind of mindset as well too. So I think, I mean, once the other coaches saw that, it was like, we want some of that too. And then plus, with all of the emphasis placed on maximizing revenues and just kind of the more money invested into the sport is the better. I think the Big Ten Conference wanted some of that. So I had some people tell me to reply on social media, like, this is just a money grab. Not purely. I think there are some competitive advantages to having this tournament. So I think overall, this is just another proving ground for Nebraska. They've won the last 3 Big Ten regular season tournaments. And really, I think it's kind of a nice way to determine who the champion is as well too. It's kind of gone to an unbalanced schedule the last few years once they added a lot of members. So it was headed this way too. And I think to me it was inevitable to end up at this point.
Do you know Lincoln was anywhere besides Indy considered to be the host of this? And are you surprised at all that it was Indy, which has quickly become kind of like the Big Ten's second city, if you would?
I assume that other places were considered, but knowing that, I mean, because when they floated this idea first came out, that, I mean, I talked to the Big Ten office last summer at the Big Ten Volleyball Media Days, and they were monitoring the situation. But once they kind of wanted it to happen this year, I think that really limited where they could go to, because you're looking for a bigger venue that has availability for almost a week in late November, which you run into a lot of conflicts from other sports. I mean, concert venues already been signed contracts. So I think timing wise, it was very limited on what they're able to do. But with that said, I think this is a decent venue too. I mean, it hosts volleyball a lot. That's where the Indy Ignite of Major League Volleyball play. It hosted their All-Star game last year too. So it can put on very good volleyball focused events. So I think, and plus being close to Indy, which is a very neutral ground. I mean, yes, some schools are closer than that, but you're not going to have a overwhelming influx from one Nebraska fan base to take it over to. So I think that was also in the minds of the league and some coaches too, when they wanted to do this too. They didn't want it to be a home venue for a certain fan base or one school.
Yeah. As Danny Busboom Kelly said, the only downside, or one of the downsides, I suppose, is that you have to cut a couple games off of the regular season, and teams lose home games and revenue as far as that's concerned. However, as we transition this toward the next thing, Danny Busboom Kelly not afraid to not have home games, not afraid to not play at the Devaney Center, which is, of course, being renovated this offseason. They're going to play matches in Pinnacle Bank Arena, at Wrigley Field, and who knows where else, Lincoln. I mean, this is very, very different. I mean, we knew this right away, departure from sort of how John Cook liked it to play his matches at home sweet home. What does this sort of idea and this mindset mean for the brand of Nebraska volleyball to play wherever, whenever?
Yes, and Danny also did remind us last time we talked with her earlier this offseason too that Wrigley Field was not her idea. She kind of had that thrust upon her by the Big Ten, but I think this goes with being the head coach and running the program that is Nebraska volleyball. You are one of the flagship institutions for the entire sport, so they're going to want to use that and kind of use that to expose new fans to that sport too, and kind of have that national brand that wherever Nebraska goes, we saw that last year and last couple of years too, wherever Nebraska goes, they're going to set an attendance record. They're going to sell out too. So there's just the casual interest that Nebraska can go to any arena anywhere in the country and draw a sold out fan base too. It's just what Nebraska brings as part of its part of its reputation at this point too. So I think that it's a responsibility that comes with being the head coach in Nebraska too, is that not only do you have to be in the national title hunt every year, but you have to carry the load of the sport and kind of promote it and be at the forefront and be willing to try new things that, I mean, someone somewhere thought was a good idea. We'll see if the execution pays off in the end.
You know, speaking of just like the fan base and the travel and all of it, they have this sort of series of exhibitions that took them up to Sioux Falls. Were you up there at the Pentagon for that event, and how well was that received? And you think this sort of spring tour, do you see this potentially getting bigger as this goes forward for volleyball?
Yes. I mean, I think that was a wonderful celebration for Bergen Riley. Kind of had the nice hometown card for her, and it was sold out. I mean, it was not as rambunctious as when Nebraska was up there playing Oklahoma. That was a very different atmosphere too. But this was a very engaged fan base that was there to root on the Huskers for the most part. I think at one point there was a set point I looked around and there was very small pockets of Iowa State fans that were not standing up and clapping. So it was a very Husker lean. As far as whether or not this continues, I mean, Danny does teams can play up to 4 spring matches, and I think Nebraska wants to get as many of those matches in as possible. The one limiting factor to that is that because Nebraska has a beach program, they're not starting practice indoors until mid-March, whereas other programs start earlier in the month because they don't have a beach season to worry about too. So I think Nebraska will want to continue to play as many as possible, just get those outside competition opportunities and also get in front of the fan base as well too. I think you'll see the tour around Nebraska playing somewhere like Shattern this year or last year. Those matches will continue too. Whether Nebraska will continue to play road matches during the spring, I don't know. But this year, there's kind of their hand was forced because of the renovation at Devaney Center.
Well, it's cool because we have a fun one tonight, Nebraska and Creighton. It's always fun when they get together, and it was especially good last September at the big arena downtown, setting an attendance record. This will be a little bit different in DJ Sokol Arena. What are you expecting to see tonight? I mean, these are both teams who played in a regional final last year.
Yeah, this will be, I think, for its atmosphere, one of the few times where I don't think Nebraska will be cheered on by the majority fans too, because it is such a limited venue, and Creighton usually does a good job of filling that out for their matches when they do play there. I think there'd be a lot of Creighton fans there. There will be a good amount of red, but it'll be one of these. I don't know if Creighton fans will be hostile or this is a spring exhibition, so there's not really high stakes for this. So,
right.
I think that it'll be leaning more towards Creighton as far as the fans concerned. But I saw Creighton a little bit. They played a match after a Love Nebraska match here at Baxter Arena against Omaha a little bit too. And I think that, I mean, their roster is a little incomplete right now. They're trying to still incorporate some stuff too. So to me, they lost a lot last year. They have to replace a lot. So it'll be interesting to see who's stepping up into some of those roles from the All-Americans that are no longer on their roster. Nebraska, from what I saw last weekend, is a machine. They lost a couple of pieces, but they've already replaced them, and I've seen some players take a big step forward in some other spots.
Yep, no doubt about it. All right, Lincoln. Well, you'll be there tonight, right?
Yes, I am driving up I-80 to hang out in Omaha tonight.
Tremendous. Well, we'll see you there. Thanks. Enjoy the coverage as always. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
You bet, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Lincoln Arneal, you can find his work at Husker Max or on the Volleyball State Pod. I agree. Nebraska is going to be in much more put together form compared to Creighton as far as it goes tonight. There's no doubt about that. Creighton they've played spring matches already as well, but so many new pieces.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind that they lost a whole bunch of pieces coming off of, the team that played last year and still ended back in the same place in a regional final. So they're going to keep churning. They're just trying to figure out what it's going to look like and who the pieces are going to be this year right now. Nebraska has a plethora of options.
Yeah, well, in Nebraska, some of it is like, who are the new people that are going to emerge?
Not many.
It's because you have so many people returning. And I know we're going to talk about this later, but you want to talk about a program where the 5-year thing could be
crazy.
One, it could disrupt your player procurement process.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really know what you have coming in.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to turn around and tell Harper Murray, hey, you got to go.
I mean, they might you might though.
Yeah, well, it might be simpler for you to basically like, we are only having you for 4. You get 4 here.
Yeah.
That it might be easier.
It's kind of what happens at Ohio State in football. They're just like, you have to go. Like, we don't want you here.
You might want to come back, but you're a junior that's draft eligible, and we have another 2 versions of you we need to figure out is the new you.
Yeah.
So have fun in the NFL. Please come back on Alumni Day.
Be interesting. We'll talk about that 5 for 5 in just a few minutes. Please come back for Alumni Day. Should be fun tonight down at DJ Sokol Arena. And if you didn't get a ticket, then check out Nebraska Public Media this evening. We'll take a break. Joey's got the headlines when we return on 1620 The Zone. All right, don't forget getting your Friday shoutouts. We'll get those across coming up at about 8:45. Max Olson still to join. Jake Sorensen still to join. We have a bracket sim. But first, we have headlines. Joey, what are we cooking today?
All right, the first headline is video game playing 91-year-old sparks concern, then relief for Westlake police.
Okay, that is just an ambiguous enough headline where I'm at least a little interested.
It's going to really have to be brought for the second headline for me because there's things that I don't understand about the way the headline was written.
Mm-hmm.
All right, second one is former Alabama player wore wigs, makeup to impersonate NFL players in $20 million fraud case, court doc says.
Yeah, I know a little bit about this one already.
All right, let's go to the video game playing 91-year-old.
Are you good with that?
I'm very okay with it.
All right.
Westlake, Ohio. This is from Cleveland.com. At about 6 p.m. on April 9th, a voluntary automated welfare check system for residents alerted police that an enrolled resident did not answer her check-in phone call. A dispatcher called the 91-year-old's resident's phone, but received no answer there. You're thinking the worst. After calling the woman's daughter and learning that the woman should have been home, the dispatcher sent officers for a wellness check. The officers became more alarmed when there was no answer at her door, according to a police department release. After speaking with neighbors and seeing the woman's car in her garage, the officers used the garage door code to access the home and check further. But then officers found the woman inside, alive and well. They learned that she was playing video games and had missed the attempts to contact her. Officers reported that the resident, who appreciated their concern, was playing a bubble pop game to try to beat her record level. The Westlake, any ideas, by the way? I don't know what kids' games are playing these days.
I don't play a single game on my phone.
I don't either.
Like,
I find it weird.
I don't find it weird. I just, I think I played Angry Birds at one point.
I think I used to play Temple Run for a little while.
That was a thing in middle school for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
but nothing since.
Officers reported, they played the bubble pop game. The Westlake Police Department, in its press release, reminded residents that they could sign up for the city's voluntary Confirm OK program, previously known as Are You OK, operated by the Westlake Community Service Department and the police department. Those who sign up receive a daily phone call. Wow, okay, so that's it. She was just inside playing video games.
She's playing a bubble pop game.
So I'm glad
they get too hooked onto their video games. They refuse to acknowledge any contact from the outside world.
Okay, but why is this written this way? Like, why didn't they name the old lady? Like,
no idea.
Why didn't they get this? Almost feels made up.
I would guess it's like a community written thing that then just got picked up by Cleveland.com.
Bruce Gieselman, special to Cleveland.com. So you might be right there, Schaefer.
And then you read the end of it, it's almost for the program.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I'm not finding a name, but
Fake news media.
It was a news story on News 5 Cleveland.
Cleveland.com has gone downhill.
Clearly.
I can say that.
Yeah. What happened to Doug Lay Maurice?
I don't know what actually happened.
I don't see him doing his Northern football podcast anymore.
Like that completely stopped. I don't know why, but it did. I would assume because it probably didn't have a big enough listener share.
Probably. I imagine nobody wanted to honk for the North.
I think people wanted to honk. I just don't know that you're going to get enough honkers to make it, justify doing it if no one's paying you to do it.
No, I don't think so either. By the way, the other headline, former Alabama player wore wigs and makeup to impersonate NFL players in a $20 million fraud case. Who is the Alabama player? Luther Davis. Expected to plead guilty.
Yeah, the players that he pretended to be were like Xavier McKinney. I think Michael Penix was one of them.
Huh.
And
yeah, there you go.
There's somebody
Davis
else
is charged with the conspiracy to commit wire fraud and aggravated identity theft, both felonies, by working with an accomplice named C.J. Evans in obtaining or attempting to obtain 13 loans in the names of current or former NFL players. Through its own reporting, The Guardian identified 3 of the players as Atlanta Falcons quarterback Michael Penix, Cleveland Browns tight end David Njoku, and Green Bay Packers safety Xavier McKinney, who started Alabama from 2017 to 2019. According to the court documents, during a 17-month period beginning around May 2023, they, quote, executed a scheme to fraudulently obtain millions of dollars in loans from multiple lenders by impersonating football players and falsely claiming that those players were seeking multi-million-dollar loans. In order to obtain the loans, Davis is alleged to have attended virtual loan closings while wearing disguises and providing fake IDs. He allegedly wore makeup and or a wig to impersonate both Njoku and McKinney and created fake Georgia driver's license using pictures of Njoku and McKinney he found online. Wow. To impersonate Penix, Davis wore a do-rag style head covering and created a fake Florida driver's license using a picture of Penix he found online. Seems like a sort of half-assed put together plan. By,
oh no, maybe the
boy here.
virtual loan closings could seem like a bad idea. Maybe some things have to be in person when they're seeking millions of dollars.
Yeah. Well, Luther and his boy, they were just trying to take advantage of a system that they already knew was broken. They wouldn't have done this if they wouldn't have
money.
Yeah, they wouldn't have done this if they wouldn't have thought they had a chance to get away with it. Unfortunately for them, they did not get away with it.
No, they did not.
They did not get away with it. All right. Those are the headlines. Thank you, Joey. We got to both of them today, which is nice. 8 o'clock hour is coming up next. We'll talk about what's coming up in the 5 for 5, and if it should happen. Max Olson will join us in the 8 o'clock hour as well. And our Friday shoutouts in about an hour. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. The zone deal is on sale in an hour. And it's to Churco this week, where you could receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Or Matt will have an opportunity on his show, at least one today, for you to win a Churco.
Only one opportunity.
Just one. I was thinking, Joey, like, I'm not sure how many he's given out throughout the week. You know, sometimes we skip days or whatever it is. So he'll have at least one opportunity to win Churco today on his show. Churco, CIRCO, Omaha.com at 192nd and Q. Like I said, Zone Deal goes on sale in 1 hour. I got a email from Brian, who writes it on the Equitable Bank inbox. He sends me a picture, a screenshot of Facebook from another car purchasing Nebraska basketball player purchasing, or I don't know what the deal is with the Husker basketball players in the cars, but they all end up on Facebook for some reason.
That's wild.
And they all go to different places. This one was from a place in Beatrice.
I wouldn't have thought that Facebook would have been the source of the car Huskers here, but that's where we are.
Connor Seaton got looks like a more modest car.
If Leo Curtis gets into like a Hyundai Kona or something,
now that would be funny.
I would laugh.
Now that would be funny.
Yeah.
I would very much enjoy that.
You know, that's kind of what I'm rooting for.
We'll see what's next with the car Huskers. You never know. I have a question. Is anybody really prepared for if this 5-for-5 thing passes?
I'm prepared.
Well, you don't really have to be prepared.
I know. That's why I'm prepared.
Great. So there was a NCAA Q&A yesterday. Where I love Q&As because basically it's that are distributed because they're basically asking themselves questions and then they answer them. Oh yes, don't worry about this. This will be fine. This will be good. So the NCAA distributed a Q&A today to its member schools, which included some looming questions about the potential implementation of new age-based eligibility rules that we've talked about a couple of times. This is a screenshot from Pete Tweets yesterday. One of the questions was this: if implemented, when will the new age-based eligibility rule become effective? Answer. They can't even answer their own questions, by the way. We are evaluating all options to ensure a smooth transition to the new eligibility framework, including for current student athletes who matriculated under the current framework. Follow-up question. Wouldn't this rule change lead to incoming younger players losing out on roster spots who can now stick around for their fifth year? Answer. Listen to this word salad. This is good. We are committed to a successful and fair transition for all student athletes. Many student athletes already remain on campus for 5 years because of waivers or redshirts. The new system will make entry and exit timelines even more predictable, while continuing to ensure that new students get to enter college sports every year and experience the myriad of benefits associated with being a student athlete. So what they're saying, they answered the question by not at all answering the question and saying a thing that we already know, which is, I think the 5-for-5 thing is a good idea.
Yeah,
it's a great idea.
I'm very in on it.
The difficulty with the 5-for-5 thing is how do you implement it?
Right.
This is the holdup.
Who gets to benefit?
Yes.
When do they get to benefit?
I would venture to say that this is really the only thing holding up outside of the NCAA's just general bureaucracy of trying to pass things. But like everyone agrees with this. Everyone thinks this is a good idea, but nobody is going to be able to agree on how to do it first.
I think they're really just down to this. Do they want to announce that it would be available for people that would have exhausted eligibility in the 2026, 25-26 academic calendar year? So if that decision is made, and there's sort of a push where if you're going to do it, just rip the Band-Aid off and do it now, and you move forward with it.
What do you mean by do it now then?
Do it now would be like if you basically just came out and said, all right, we're doing the 5-for-5.
Everybody who is a fourth-year senior
has it for them for this. You know, if you thought that you had graduated and if the institution wants to take you back, you're welcome to go back.
I also believe
you
that's
could just go into the portal and find somewhere to go because that's just kind of what life is now. So I think
Now,
From
their
what I
question
understand-
that they asked themselves was, what happens to the freshmen who are going to inevitably lose roster spots?
And their answer, without saying it, is that's for the coaches to figure out on their own.
Correct.
Because what we're committed to is providing a student athlete experience that blah, 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 blah.
That's
blah.
right. Many words. Many
So,
words.
I don't know that this will happen, but when you think about the possibility of it happening and then who it could potentially affect, we mentioned with Nebraska basketball, it would open up the door for Jamarcus Lawrence to return, which would be very nice if you were Nebraska.
It would be, to quote Kent Pavelka, gigundous.
Gigundous.
That would be gigundous.
It would be quite gigundous.
Given what
you think about it, okay, it's easier to kick forward because I think about it this way too. There's really nobody from a football standpoint where, I saw Dane Key get mentioned in this.
I mean, Dane Key's going pro, right?
Right.
Like,
and if you're Nebraska, you've already replaced Dane Key with a version of Dane Key that might end up being better than Dane Key, so you don't really need Dane Key.
Yeah.
Now, if you're Dane Key and it's like, well, I probably am going to have to make an NFL roster through training camp because I'm not getting drafted, you might find a school in the portal that would allow you to play another year if that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it would be, like you said, like we said, it is going to be up to the schools and is going to be, if it is implemented the way that I think both think that they should do it, which is what you said before, rip the Band-Aid and just say, this is now a rule and you have to figure it out from here.
Yeah, the other way is if you're like, all right, we're going to implement this for the upcoming season, you're effectively then just making only a subset of people mad while everyone else will get to benefit from it.
Right.
So that might be I think there's one of two options that they're really considering.
Now, do you have it where, existing players get another year of eligibility? That is something that
I think that's
sort through as well.
You could try to attach it to an incoming class, but then that creates its own weird math equation where how many years of waivers do you want to go through before that's full stop? That's why the rip the Band-Aid off is like starting now, no more waivers. So going into
no more waivers, no more red shirts, no
Yeah,
what was it? No waivers, no red shirts, no excuses.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
And so you go forward and this would affect Nebraska football in a big way because you'd be looking at someone like an Anthony Calandria suddenly becomes a 2-year get out of the portal for you, which frankly would be gigundous for Nebraska, which then doesn't have to turn around and immediately do the dance of, do we get someone? What do we do with Trey Taylor? What do we do with this roster?
One of the things I thought about was volleyball players from like last fall who have already gone pro.
Yeah.
What do you do with them? Are they eligible to come back?
That's why I think you kind of need this decision to happen sometime in the next 5 weeks or so before you get into the NBA process, before
So, I mean, when Mitch and I did our podcast yesterday, the mailbag episode is out, by the way. Somebody asked us a question: is like, why aren't more people talking about this? Why aren't we talking about this more? And I agree with the general premise of the question, which is basically, this is a huge deal. Like, what's going on here? It's a huge change for the NCAA.
It's massive.
It's a huge, huge thing. But the reason I don't think that people are talking about it is because we don't know the framework of it.
Yeah.
And,
well, we kind of do. If you take them at their word and it's literally 5 years.
Well, I think the grandfathering thing is a huge part of it. The grandfathering or non-grandfathering is a huge part of it.
I see no way that you couldn't grandfather existing college students because it would just create more headaches for you.
Right.
And more legal battles. And so
many more legal battles.
The easiest way is like to drop it in and be like, this is what life is now. Congrats on your extra year. The coaches, who are not us, get to figure out the hard part. That's effectively what it is.
I mean, that's pretty classic NCAA.
It would be a nice abdication of responsibility, which is something that famously they're very good at.
They love doing that. Here's John on the Equitable Bank inbox. Connor, the proposed 5-for-5 rule has obviously been fully vetted and every possibility examined. I know this because of how well giving an extra year of eligibility to everyone in 2020 was. That was one of the smoothest plans ever implemented by the NCAA. Having players play their sport for up to 8 years was not disruptive at all.
They very much want to avoid the 8 years because they don't want to get into the storytelling time, which is what waivers effectively are.
Yep.
I am very much in support of this. I am.
Everybody is. Everybody. I haven't seen anyone.
I haven't seen no pushback on this.
No coaches. No like fans. Like nobody's like, no, I don't see how this works. Like the plan itself is a good one.
It's just when you do it.
It's just when you do it. And
would you have any hesitation or reservation to the idea of that athletes that went through the 2025, 2026 could utilize this if it's available? That's the other thing to point out. It's only available to the people that played for 4 years.
Correct.
So it's
if
not,
you're taking a red shirt, you're out.
It's not this massive amount of people, but it's a large amount of people.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So, if you did redshirt at all, if you had a medical issue, if you sat out a year, whatever it is, you won't get to qualify for it.
Yeah.
But if you've only had 4 seasons in 4 years, you're good to go for a fifth.
I would imagine that if it is to be implemented in that way, that we run into it being a problem a little less in football than the other sports, especially like high power conference football. Basketball will be really interesting.
That's why I think you got to make the decision sooner than later.
Yeah.
Because you have the NBA process coming up.
Yep.
You're already dealing with like the Bediacos of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that, now the one carve out that hasn't sort of been figured out is, okay, you want to start it by your 19th birthday. Well, what does that do for the people that come from other countries? Are they just, is that just, just get it, they get 3 years if they show up at 20 and they can play until they're,
That's how I understand it.
Yeah. Which I'm also okay with.
Yeah. It just takes a lot of the nonsense that we've seen over the last 5 years out of it.
It's like you create something and then we all live with it.
Yeah.
That's because we haven't had that for so long.
For the first time really the line of demarcation here is, I guess, COVID. But really for the first time
the
since
worst
then,
line of demarcation.
It would be an actual rule. It would be an actual real life, hard and fast rule. Like Charlie Baker said it. He was like, no red shirts, no waivers, no exceptions.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, that is as hard and fast as the NCAA
and everybody kind of likes that.
Ever. Yeah. And everyone's like, sweet. Now there are issues.
Except I shouldn't say everyone. Michael Severe hates this for some reason.
What's the angle to hate it?
Hates it is wrong. He just doesn't care about if players stick around forever because he finds it fun when Diego Pavia is playing in a wheelchair in 2087.
Oh. I mean, I guess I don't really care. I just think it's confusing.
I find it idiotic that we spend as much time as we have to on court stuff.
That's it. Yeah. Like, I don't care that a player is in college for 6 years if he's had 2 years that he's missed. What I do care is about the waiver process and those people going back in time and being like, oh, actually, I only played 2 games that year.
Actually, I got beat out at Ferris State, but it was because I had migraines and I didn't actually play because of that, even though there's no documentation of that being true.
Precisely.
Not that that's a specific example.
Definitely not at all. Doesn't have anything to do with
no one played at Ferris State.
Trinidad. Way to go, Trinidad. What kind of name is Trinidad anyway?
It's a country.
I know.
Shares the name with Tobago.
Let's
Maybe
see.
He has a twin brother.
Christopher writes in, all this 5 for 5 talk, 5 for 5 at Arby's was legendary. We had it made back in the day.
You did. Every time I hear 5 for 5, I keep thinking 5 for fighting is going to come up.
Hasn't yet.
Which was a band
Until
that
now.
Existed in a period of time in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Text for the 402. Chris Winkie would have never been able to play and win the Heisman since he played baseball first.
Is Monte Harrison still at Arkansas?
I think he just was there for the 1 year, right?
Was it just 1 year?
Which was 2 years ago?
I don't remember.
Or is that this pet? All right.
It kind of popped up and then it was off my radar.
I remember thinking, that's cool. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know how stuff like that works.
I don't either.
I don't know how the baseball,
No idea.
But no waivers, no exceptions.
So
So
I'm
your clock
assuming it's
starts at
just-
19. Like, no, you're
you make your choice and that's your choice.
Yeah.
You don't get your football eligibility back because you went and played professional baseball.
Monte Harrison in 2025, which was his sophomore year, played in 2 games before suffering a season-ending injury. Sad.
Oh.
Also, first year SEC academic honor roll. Is he still on the roster though?
I hope so. Even though Sam Pittman isn't there anymore.
Monty Harrison. It said now he still says he's a redshirt sophomore, but
he's still
maybe
there,
they haven't
as far as we know.
Maybe they haven't updated it. Born August 10th, 1995.
It is.
He's 3 years younger than me, and he was a sophomore in college last year.
He was.
I'm old.
For anyone that went and watched him in high school, like
he was awesome.
Paul Bunyan-esque figure when you're talking about, or John Henry, whatever sort of legendary person you want to use. He was an incredible football player. I think it was John Niatawa went and watched him play basketball. He was phenomenal there. And then, of course, his best sport was baseball. And he ends up drafted by the Brewers, and unfortunately,
never really panned out.
No, he got traded to the Marlins, ended up with the Angels. I don't know where else he was at.
Yeah,
at any point in time, but he was so good, and nobody really knew about him. Like that was one of the things both staff kind of found him, and he was really good.
Maybe Kyler Murray will quit football and go back to baseball.
I hope not.
Maybe go back to college.
Go back to gaming.
You know what that means?
That means you have to deal with.
That means 9. That means 9.
What number will Kyler Murray wear?
I'm assuming 1.
Probably
I
1.
would think so.
Jalen Naylor left to go to be with the Raiders, I think.
Maybe he could have a nickname of 1.
1 and 9.
1, 9, handshake beam.
What's Max Prosper's number?
He either start 1 and 9 or start 9 and 1.
12. I was thinking 15 off the top.
He does seem like a 12.
Let's double check on Max Prosper.
Yeah, I would.
Really valuable information.
It really is.
Everyone cares.
So long story short here, I don't know that anybody is actually prepared for this, and the NCAA has basically in turn told the schools, hey, you guys are kind of going to have to figure this out yourself once
you nailed it.
12. He seemed like a 12. I thought he was a 12.
He's a 12.
And so the NCAA has basically said, hey, you're going to have to figure your own crap out. So what we're dealing with here is a very, very specific case by case basis. But with that being said, like you laid out, Schaefer, there's a lot of instances of athletes at our local schools who could potentially carve out a path to unexpectedly coming back for a 5th season. The first one I thought of at Creighton was Ava Martin, who was like the 2nd overall pick of the Atlanta Vibe and is playing professionally right now. She was 4 years, and she played all 4 years and left. Like, what happens to her? If she gets a 5th year, she could come back and make a bunch of money and get Creighton into the Final Four.
Is Jason Green eligible for this?
Jason Green was a redshirt.
Was he a redshirt? I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
shouldn't remember.
Jason Green,
but like someone like Hudson Greer would have 5 years.
Jason Green,
but it wouldn't be unexpectedly that he came back next year.
It's just like you would get that. Now, Jackson McAndrew is someone who would get a waiver in an old system, but now it's effectively like he just had that year. It doesn't count, and he would have 5 to
That's
play.
true. So you would have to list him as a junior next year.
Mm-hmm.
Or what do they do?
You list them off of whatever their academic class is.
I suppose.
You just you go from there. Maybe they're going to start putting SS for super senior.
Or they have been doing GR, like graduate.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to do it.
I think that's a pretty decent way to do it.
I don't mind that one.
So did Josh Dix redshirt at I don't believe he took a redshirt at Iowa.
So he could theoretically.
Yeah, I think he would be. Yeah.
Now, I don't know, given with everything they brought in, whether you would bring him back, but
it's a pretty valuable piece.
If he just wants to hang out and play.
I mean, who wouldn't take another guard? He could go to Nebraska.
He could.
He could go Iowa, Nebraska. He could go Iowa, Creighton, Nebraska.
He could go to UNO.
He could go to UNO. What if he went Iowa, Creighton, Nebraska? What interstate would he be traveling on, Joey? If he went from Iowa to Creighton to Nebraska.
It's all on I-80.
All on I-80.
Joey was like, had to ponder it if you were trying to
trick him. It was a trick question.
I could see in his brain, he's like, this is dumb. But am I missing something?
It was a dumb question.
It was a dumb question. Of course I know the
line.
answer to that question.
I'm glad that I could just read Joey's brain.
Unless you want to take the detour on 29, go I-480 and go south, go back on I-80, and then you're back in Lincoln.
That is true.
If you like
true.
detours, you go through
Well,
downtown
or
Omaha.
you can take the north.
Well,
you-
Josh Dix is technically taking the detour on I-480 to go past CHI. So there you go.
You can do it that way. Or if you're coming from, the state of not Council Bluffs, the rest of the state of Iowa, you're traveling on I-80, you could get off at the North 680.
I-880.
Yes, that's right.
They changed that a few
No.
years ago.
880 is the other one. It's well, I guess it goes 880 to 680, right?
Yeah.
The 880 thing is kind of wild to me. I forgot.
I didn't even know
about
there
that.
was an 880.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
that sounds
that was
weird
a
to
few
say
years
out
ago.
loud.
So you
880.
live on the north side of town now. You ought to test out some 880 one time.
So where does 880 take?
So it's from I-29 around Missouri Valley to I'm trying to remember the town in Iowa. It's like a remote stretch if you want to avoid Council Bluffs, or if you're going from Des Moines to Sioux City.
So when you're traveling, when you're
So I probably have taken 880 because I've taken that to go up to Sioux City recently.
No, you wouldn't be on 880 there.
Going from Des Moines.
When you're going like west from Des Moines,
Okay.
like it's like if you just continued straight instead of coming down
Okay.
and meeting up with 80.
All right.
So
I haven't taken 880.
880, you go straight. It's like kind of up by Fort Calhoun, basically, and then you go straight down.
Interesting.
And then you could take the North 680 all around, which is a lesser used interstate. It's a great option. It's a great option. People should use it. I use it to get to the airport occasionally.
Could add it to my interstate list.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Anyway, like I said, I don't know that anybody is prepared for this 5 for 5 thing, but you'll
changes a lot.
We'll figure it out when we get there.
Long term could be really, a boon for all the programs.
Teresa says Shelby and Neola. Those are the towns that Joey was looking for.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, Teresa is welcome. All right. Max Olson is going to join us.
He'll have thoughts on 5 for 5.
Yeah, it is a good thing to bring up with Max. That's for sure. Also, I saw a tweet. So Kurt Signetti did a tweet yesterday.
Whoa!
So when Kurt Signetti does,
was it about how he ignores his daughter?
He does.
Well, wasn't that like his daughter's tweet? No, hers was that would he be happy? And remember, he famously was unhappy about something else.
That is true. He was not happy about like winning the national championship or something like that, and then got happy after Indiana won it. So somebody had like claimed that Indiana spent $40 million to build a championship football roster.
Last year's team?
Some dude on Front Office Sports, he went on a Front Office Sports podcast, Alabama football GM Courtney Morgan, okay? He went on a Front Office Sports podcast, and he says, college football programs are spending, quote, probably more than $40 million to build a championship roster in the NIL era. And I didn't watch the video, but apparently he mentioned Indiana in here. And then Kurt Signetti, a thing called Indy Sports, responded and said, I'm pretty sure that Indiana did not pay $40 million to win a national championship.
I'm fairly certain they didn't either.
And Kurt Signetti agrees with both you and Indy Sports.
Good.
He says,
us.
Correct. Not even close. Hashtag go IU. Hashtag IUFB.
Yeah, I mean, like, do they spend 25?
I like it when the coaches hop on. I like it when the coaches hop on Twitter to tell
To bat
people
things down.
how much or how little they are right. That's great. That's a good trend. I like it. Or how much or how little NIL spending that schools are doing. That's for sure. All right, so we'll take a break. Max Olson will join us on the other side. Wanted to discuss with him and get your Friday shout-outs in as well. Shout out to Teresa for coming up with those towns, Shelby and Neola. Not even the great Joey Colbert could come up with them.
Well, I'm not an expert of Iowa towns. I would have to ask Nick Grimm.
That's true.
Those
He's an expert of
questions,
interstate,
and he's probably
not
still
Iowa
asleep.
towns. All right, back after this on 1620 The Zone. Welcome you back. More of Happer and Schaefer. You're on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. And we are joined right now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Max Olson from ESPN. Good morning, Max. How are you?
Good morning. A little under the weather. We'll try not to sneeze on this one and pull this off.
It happens. You don't have a mute button, but you are at the hands of Joey Colbert, who, if he senses a sneeze coming from you, he could just turn you down. So we'll have to have him listen very closely.
I mean, what immense power he possesses.
I'll use my powers of observation.
Yeah, he's really,
which is my ears.
He's very perceptive. All right. Never a dull moment as far as rules or lack of rules and
court
cases, things of that nature. I feel like I'm kind of sad because I feel like this is the only thing that we talk about. We were just talking about this, Max. Does anybody really have a great understanding of how big of a deal this potential 5-for-5 thing is going to be if and when it comes to fruition, which it kind of does seems like it's happening soon?
Yeah, I think that there's a few different ways to look at that. Like, I think big picture, and we saw it again yesterday with the NCAA going to court against the Oklahoma linebacker and losing that case. Like, I just think the NCAA and these schools should just get out of the red shirt business and the waiver business. And I think there will be some simplicity that comes with saying, hey, it's just 5-for-5 going forward. Can we, get away from some of this stuff like, hey, let's manipulate the 4-game red shirt and have guys leaving in September and some of those things that have just come from people sort of playing the rules to their advantage and stuff. So, like, I think there'll be some benefits to that of just saying, like, it is what it is. Like, we'll have to come up with a new way to describe these things to some degree if we're taking out red shirts. But ultimately, like, it hopefully it makes things a little bit more straightforward. And, like, I just think the repeated court cases over trying to, get a 7th year or all these types of things, like, I think the NCAA would like to put his rest to all of that, even if they've won a bunch of them. It is just a huge waste of time. But I do think that there is a difference between, like, all right, this is what's going to be going forward for guys who are coming into it versus, what do we do with the guys that are currently in the system, and, how do we give them their 5th year, and how does that get handled, and what are the, unintended consequences of setting that up. I think there's some challenges that come with that, because obviously we're talking about all sports here, not just football. So there's going to be some interesting stuff that comes with that. But, at the same time, we've worked through the extra COVID year before for whatever, a 4 or 5 year period. So I think people can figure it out.
Looking back on it with that COVID year, do you think that played out in a good way, in a bad way, just sort of mixed depending on who you were?
Well, I think it's very easy to forget the context of why that was set up in the first place.
Agreed.
And the reason that was set up in 2020 is we genuinely did not know if anybody could get through a college football season. And, I think right around that time that they were setting up that rule was the time that several conferences were saying we're not going to play this season. And so you were trying to figure out some way to sort of incentivize players to, like, hey, it's okay if you play this season. It won't count against, your future and stuff like that. And obviously there were, you look at the guys that were in the Pac-12, like, they played 4-game seasons. Like, obviously that shouldn't be penalizing them for the rest of their career and stuff. And so, I think at the time it was well-intentioned, but obviously what it created was, just years and years of players having extra years of eligibility and then going to the portal and capitalizing on that and making more money. And so, when you have that colliding with unlimited transfers eventually, then, obviously it led to kind of where we got to today. And so, I wouldn't go back and say, like, that was bad of them to give the extra year. I think you had to do it at that time of so much uncertainty, but certainly across sports, it created some new challenges with roster management, but so did, paying players, and that all started in 21. So, part of it is just that all these things kind of collided at the exact same time.
Recommendation from the Oversight Committee yesterday suggested that they proposed that the season would move up a week, which is basically week 0 right now, and would give teams a little bit of extra flexibility to schedule games. So you have 14 weeks now to play 12 games instead of just the 1 bye week, and that's sort of dependent on the calendar. Max, what's the significance of that? And obviously you're trying to, create some space for a larger playoff. I think that's just one of the arms of moving the season up a week.
Yeah, certainly. I can't speak to what this will mean for our beloved Aer Lingus Classic. I mean, we'll see about that. But I do think it's like a step in the process of getting this thing figured out. Clearly, you're totally right, Happer. Like, I think part of it is just like acknowledging that like probably the future involves an expanded playoff to some degree. I think just everybody starting in week 0 is a thing that you have to get to. It doesn't solve the problem on the back end, and I think that's the thing that people need to start having some hard conversations about. Is just I personally like I understand that there's a lot of history and tradition tied to playing on New Year's and Rose Bowl and all that type of stuff, but I think especially if you're talking about a 2014 playoff in the future, this has just got to go to the FCS model where you're playing every Saturday and just finishing the season as close to January 1st as possible. Like I think that's what we have to get to. The idea of the season stretching out to January 25th is just absurd and obviously creates a lot of challenges and just makes the hill even tougher to climb for the best teams in the country. So I think if we can get towards that, I think that's going to help you quite a bit in terms of the portal windows and just the way that all of this flows into the offseason.
What if I have one small follow up here? What if you put the bowl games? What do you do with the bowl games? What like you said, you
put them in the spring.
What if you put the bowl games in week 0? The artist commonly known as week 0 right now. I mean, obviously the matchups wouldn't be based on anything, but you get to keep the sponsorship money and all of that stuff. I don't know. Like there's clearly going to be a reformatting of that entire month of December. So we know how many people are involved in that process, Max. Like I'm sure they're open to just about anything at this point.
No, it's a great question. And like, with all due respect to that whole world, when you say like, what about the bowl games? I think the answer from a lot of people is kind of like, man, who cares?
Yeah,
like I think right. It's just not. We don't view these things the way we did 10 years ago, where it's like the thing that your season culminated in, and it's that week vacation in some place, and all the fans are traveling to it and stuff. Like obviously, they've tried to tweak the rules a few different times. It still doesn't keep players from staying and playing these games, right? Like the players don't care. You can try to like write their deals a certain way and to incentivize it, but the players don't care about playing in bowl games. They're ready to move on to the pros or move on to their next school. I think that that's not to say none of them matter or none of them like haven't served any benefit. That's certainly not the case. But yeah, I mean, I think that I think the bowl consortium should probably having those conversations of like, what can we do that's meaningful? And I think if it's setting week 0 games based on preseason rankings and stuff like that, I think that'd be pretty cool to watch. And again, if you can balance that out with having an expanded playoff where people are less afraid of losing a game, then I think that'd be pretty awesome to watch. So yeah, I think again, like this is the challenge of kind of doing all these things piecemeal as opposed to just one big revolutionary change. But like I think if you're expanding the playoff and everyone's starting in week 0, I think there's some merit to that idea for sure.
Max, you are you're a college football guy at various times in your life. I know that you really cared about the NFL draft. I know you're a fantasy football guy as well. We're a week away from it. We'll have a chance, hopefully next week, to dive even more into it. But is there any player or players that you're particularly interested in where they go from their college career to where they are in the NFL?
Ooh, good question. I think with this draft, I mean, I'm certainly interested to see where Ty Simpson ends up going. Like, I think Ty Simpson, probably at the time in December, January, like had some pretty good assurances that some of these teams, like the Rams, for example, were going to be drafting a quarterback, and that you were going to get picked in the first round. Now we'll see if that actually comes true, or if somebody has to move back into the first round to go get him. I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic there next Thursday. The top of the draft is going to be interesting after Mendoza, and is it going to be David Bailey or Arvell Reese after that, and kind of what's your preference there? I think the way the wide receivers fall in the draft is going to be kind of fun to watch too, because I think it's going to be very much based on personal preference. Like I think there's going to be some that really talk themselves into Jordan Tyson, and some that feel a lot safer with Carnell Tate or Mekhi Lemon or one of those guys. I think there's going to be a big run on receivers in the first round. So, man, I love the draft. I'm excited to watch that. In terms of like guys I'm super invested in. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who sneaks up into the first round.
I have one more. Now this we're back to not court cases exactly. I am curious, Max, what happened with Iowa here this week, and why are they the one team who's getting punished for tampering?
Yeah, so the Iowa case is one that has been playing out for many, many years.
Yes.
This is Iowa, having impermissible contact with Cade McNamara when he was at Michigan, when he was going to go in the transfer portal and transfer to Iowa, which I believe people have reported that like they gave him $1 million, which at the time was quite a bit. Now no big deal, but at the time that was a lot. I think it's one of those where they had the NCAA had the communication, they kind of had them dead to rights, and I think the question a lot of times with people on this stuff is just sort of like, okay, well, if you've got the smoking gun, like why can't we get this wrapped up pretty quickly here? And the reality is that I believe the communication. I don't want to mix up the dates here, but I believe the communication happened at the end of 2022. Kirk Ferentz and their receivers coach sat out the season opener of 2024, and we just closed this case here in the spring of 2026. That's the kind of stuff where you're sort of like, people would love to see a more streamlined process. If they're even open to being penalized for tampering, like I think they would like to see this not get dragged out for 2-3 years. But there's also on the other end of that, in the NCAA's defense, there's the frustration on their end of like, okay, the reason this dragged out so long was because Iowa was fighting tooth and nail over the idea of vacating 4 wins that season with Cade McNamara. And that's kind of stuff where it's like, okay, well, like, would you rather have a financial penalty?
Yeah.
It's sort of like, I think Iowa wants to sit here and say, we're really disappointed by the outcome. We're disappointed that this took so long. But at the same time, they are fighting over a rather small penalty in the grand scheme of things here. And so I think that continues to just be the problem around trying to, have enforcement around tampering. It's just like, okay, even if everyone agrees that this happened, what should the penalty be? How can we get that executed quickly? And, can we get to a point where the schools just accept it and move on versus just fighting for years over it and saying, how dare you do this to us? And I know, like, I certainly understand the perspective of Iowa being like, why are you calling us out when this is going on everywhere all the time? I think, again, that's the challenge for the NCAA is the burden of proof, and can you give us good enough evidence to go after somebody? I think we will see tampering cases here in the future, but I think that continues to just be the thing that is frustrating is, certainly if you bring that stuff forward, not only does it not stop the player from playing at the school, but it's not going to be dealt with for many years.
Right. Max Olson from ESPN. All right, Max, great stuff as always. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You sounded great, by the way.
Good job.
We got through it. Thanks, guys.
Max Olson from ESPN. Wouldn't it just behoove the schools to just basically plead not guilty? Just say, nah, we didn't do any of that stuff. Go ahead, investigate us. See what you find out. Yeah. Iowa was like, yeah, we did
Most
some of that.
Most of us won't be here by the time you come back with results.
Iowa was like, yeah, we did some of that stuff. You could penalize us. We'll self-impose some penalties. And then they imposed the penalties, and Iowa was like, whoa, vacating 4 wins? What? That's messed up, dude. So everybody is responsible for how weird that situation looked, I think.
Which isn't a big surprise.
It's time for our Friday shoutouts. We have a few. Get your Friday shoutouts in at Happen Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed, or text them in or comment them in on YouTube. If you would like to shout out anybody or anything, let us know. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, time for your Friday shout-outs, because even though this is sports talk radio and even though this is AM radio, I guess unless you're listening in Grand Island, we could still do shout-outs too.
Dedicate a segment to you.
Remember back in the day when you'd call into a radio station and say, shout out to my friend, or request a song.
Did you ever call into radio stations when you were younger?
Yeah, I requested songs.
I mean, I have too. It seems like it'd be a barrier of entry that you would not be willing to deal with.
No, I wanted to hear the songs I wanted to hear, and the only way to hear them was on the radio.
Do you know what song you would have requested?
No, you would have had to tell me what year it was, but maybe.
The year was 2003.
2003. I don't know. I'd have to look at the songs.
Too bad I can't do a Casey Kasem voice.
Here's Pedro. Hi, guys. Shout out to Ryan Kalkbrenner. Look at that. Kareem Center winner 2025. Naismith Defensive Player of the Year 2025. Charlotte Hornets center that blocked a shot to win the Summer League Championship. Charlotte Hornets center that is helping a team win a playoff game after a 10-year absence, getting married in 2025, and having a daughter. Shout out to Ryan.
Wow,
Kalkbrenner.
what a year for Ryan Kalkbrenner.
He has a chance to get the 8th seed for the Charlotte Hornets with the game against the Magic tonight.
Buzz. Also, Pedro has a second shout out. Hi, guys. Second shout out. Oh, it's more about Ryan Kalkbrenner getting married and having a daughter and having the best game a new father could have. He said it was the best 24 hours of his life. He deserves all the respect from Creighton fans. Culture guy that was missed this year. Thank you, Pedro. Shout out to Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Shout out to Ryan Kalkbrenner.
X2. Mustache Adam. I want to shout out the Fox YouTube Live golf stream from yesterday. One day after rumors circulating that the Saudi PIF was pulling the plug on Live, someone pulled the plug on the feed for 2 hours. I did not know this. That's really funny.
Yeah, did you know that Live is likely to be no more?
I saw the headline. I didn't care.
I'm shocked that this league that nobody cared about, that only existed more or less for private equity to try to throw money around, is dead.
Literally,
I'm shocked by this.
Nobody cared.
I know of no one.
Where did it end up? Are they actually canceling
Did you ever
it?
see an event?
Never.
So I was at a bar in Chicago a couple years ago, and it was on the television at the bar, and even the TV watching experience was just like, what the hell are they doing?
I saw like a clip.
There was
once.
like weird graphics that would be on like the side of the screen.
Yeah, it was when they did Happy Gilmore 2. They did Maxi Golf or whatever.
Yeah.
It's basically that. It really was. Here is
go.
Sam. I have to shout out the communities of Hamburg, Iowa, Tarkio, Missouri, and Monowai, Nebraska, population of 1, by the way, for taking in the Happer and Schaefer World Tour this summer for talk radio that rocks. They do not know what is coming for them.
We got to build a song set list for a potential concert, a Happer and Schaefer concert.
Hamburg, Iowa. I like
southwesternmost
drive
corner
through that or drive by it almost all the time if you're going down to Kansas
City. Yeah,
so
the southwesternmost corner of
that
Iowa.
one I know where it
some
is. The other
fireworks.
two I do not.
Michael Severe, Friday shoutouts. Friday shout out to us.
Hey,
Whoa.
You and I, but what for? Being great dads.
oh wow!
Mike Schaefer.
I took my kid to a park yesterday. It was fun.
I took
Shout
my-
out
There you
park.
go.
I took my kid outside to explore dirt lawn.
Oh, I was dirt lawn.
It was dirt. It was dirt.
Did
Very
your
dirty.
kid like the dirt?
Yeah. She likes being outside in the dirt. Yeah.
When a small child discovers a new surface and they're very unsure of it, it is hilarious.
It is. It's very funny. She very much enjoyed it. John Bishop writes in, shout out to Kurt Signetti, who apparently didn't win the title with a $40 million roster. I mean, it was probably 30 million, but who's counting? Hashtag Friday shoutouts. Also from John Bishop. Also not a shout out to Troy Dannon, who failed to hire John Cook as women's flag football coach, thus denying us the opportunity to have a football coach on the sidelines with Stetson for the first time since Bum Phillips.
Did Jim Polon
Wow.
said no?
It also could have had like the big inflatable could have been used for the flag football team as well.
Could have been.
That could have been a thing.
Sam writes in, I have to shout out Al Huss for getting all his recruiting work done before the weekend so he could just chill.
They look like they're done.
It's getting pretty close.
It's looking nice. I'm excited.
Joey's excited.
I'm sure we have other shout outs on the YouTube as well. We'll have some overflow shout outs.
Definitely Baylor Shireman.
Joey shouts out Baylor Shireman. I am shocked by this news. We will take a break. 9:00 hour. Jake Sorensen still set to join. And we'll get you out of here on a Friday on 1620 The Zone. I heard little birdie told me that unsportsmanlike conduct this afternoon is going to be dusting off the need to get to 6 game for Bert Kreischer tickets.
Saw that on Twitter, and the graphic of Devil Bill Moose never ceases to make me
Which I
laugh.
think is what I think, if I remember the graphic correctly, it was the original photo is the sketch from SNL.
Oh, yeah.
Where Garth Brooks.
It is 1,000% that.
What a sketch!
Which
One
is
of my favorites
terrific.
of all time.
Yeah, it's terrific.
One of my favorites of all time. Starts singing songs.
Telling
devil starts
Matt
singing songs.
that Garth Brooks once had an alter ego.
Yeah, that was news to him.
Was just well, I don't even know if he knew who Garth Brooks was. If we're also honest there, so
He had a
there's
concert
that
at
too.
Memorial Stadium.
He did.
He probably then knows who
He was probably there.
He probably went.
That was during
but didn't
Matt's
know any of
time.
the song.
Yeah.
I would
But
think.
then could quote "Friends in Low Places."
Or Colin Baton Rouge.
Yeah,
Something like that. Garth Brooks is still one of the, he is one of the few artists who has not, publicly, made his music available to
Yeah.
people. So, like, you can't throw it out there on Spotify, so you don't hear it at games,
right.
unless you have the rights to it, which you don't, unless
He's
you're
not
LSU.
selling. Yeah,
I could probably name a few songs from
interesting
Garth
deal.
Brooks.
You could do what with Garth Brooks,
I could
Joey?
probably name a few songs from Garth Brooks.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just thought I can, but I can't.
Can you name more than 2?
No.
Okay. Thunder Rolls. That's what that song's called, right?
Yeah, Thunder Roll.
Thunder, yeah, that's a good one. Garth Brooks is good. So a couple spare shout outs here from Bad Takes Doug. Shout out to dudes named Bailey.
Yep.
It's a good one. Also,
Shout out Norbit.
Shout out Norbit. I apologize because we didn't get that one in. Unfortunately, Whopper was not available today. So shout out to Norbit on our own behalf. And Sit Destroyer says Friday shout out to the Bill Callahan Troughs in South Stadium. May you live forever.
Oh wow.
I still don't have any updated meeting minutes from Nebraska.
I forgot to
yet.
send that text.
Are you ready for whatever becomes of, or whatever sort of announcement comes down today as far as the stadium is concerned?
Sort of just anticipating it gets punted again into the future for an unforeseeable amount of time. Like when it comes down to it, I have no expectation that there will be the big announcement. I have no expectation that we'll just have clarity as to the way forward for Memorial Stadium. I think we'll continue to live in the ambiguity that exists currently.
So there was supposed to be a Board of Regents meeting last Friday, and then it got pushed to next Friday, and they apparently deliver so here's what it says. An agenda of subjects to be considered at said meeting, kept on a continually current basis, is available for inspection at the Office of Corporation Secretary of the Board of Regents at Varner Hall, or on the agendas and minutes page. A copy of this notice will be delivered to the Journal-Star, the World Herald, the Daily Nebraskan, the Gateway, the Antelope, the Kearney Hub, the Lincoln Office of the Associated Press, members of the Board of Regents, and the President's Council of the University of Nebraska when they become available. But I don't see anything on the internet right now. We'll see what that ends up looking like when they announce. I sort of agree with you, Schaefer, but when something gets out there, whenever that and however that may be, I assume the athletic department will run it, in concurrency with the announcement, so they can quote unquote control the narrative and all those different things. We've been talking about this for a long time. I really don't have a read on what, I suppose it depends on the scope of the project and how much money and all these different things, but I don't have a read anymore on how people are necessarily going to react to this.
Yeah,
it's my read on it is gone.
I think it's going to be unfavorable no matter what, because there's going to be a change element. People who have seats will be disrupted. We don't know what the period of time will be, if they're going to be able to do the work and then still have the football stadium if you're going to be playing under a house that's, under construction, if they're going to have to go to Kansas City to play football. The weird sort of part of this is there's no real easy area to go play football games if you can't play at Memorial Stadium.
There is not.
So you'd have to figure out, okay, are you going to go play at Arrowhead? Can you make that work? Does Arrowhead want you as a tenant? What does that do for your attendance, et cetera, et cetera?
It means a lot of time on I-29, right, Joey? Am I right?
A lot of I-29.
We make
then I-435.
Shouldn't even say we. I made fun of the fake tiny Northwestern stadium that they did so they could,
gorgeous.
Do whatever.
It was
they did
not
with,
gorgeous. It was a lacrosse field.
Yeah. And Nebraska
just because it
can't
was
do
on a lake doesn't mean it was gorgeous.
Nebraska cannot do that.
No.
Say that in front of Josh Peterson.
Yeah, I know. Josh Peterson is a lover of the lacrosse field stadium because he spotted a game there once.
A couple times, I think.
Yeah, I think a couple times.
The man loves spotting.
They're going to play the Colorado game there.
Nebraska can most certainly not do that. They cannot play games at a lacrosse field. What if they tried to play a football game at
you remember
Mabel Lee Hall or something like that? That's basically what they did.
It's too bad they got rid of that old track and fields.
Vine Street Field.
Come
on down.
True, yeah. The Ed Weir track.
It's too bad they got rid of that.
They could play it at the new track. Have you guys seen the new track?
Pictures.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah, I
nice.
haven't-
Just
I
over by
gotta
the
look at
ice
it.
box.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta look at that.
That's the land that they could use to put in a new baseball stadium, potentially. Something that won't be in the minutes.
No.
Oh,
but
that looks
could
nice.
be in the works maybe someday.
They should consider that. Just to if they could, just to get out from underneath the guise of the Lincoln Salt Dogs.
And have their own stadium.
Have their own beautiful, beautiful ballpark. So we will see if anything comes of that as of this morning. Elsewhere, as we look ahead to the weekend, as we mentioned, we have Nebraska and Creighton volleyball tonight at DJ Sokol Arena. Shout out to Nebraska, by the way, for making this happen. I mean, shout out to Danny Busboom Kelly. I mean, as we talked about with Lincoln Arneal earlier, there's only so much they can do because they can't really play home matches right now because the Devaney is under renovation at the moment, and so you can only do so much. But more bigger picture, Nebraska has definitely taken on the weight of being the premier volleyball program in the country, and so they're like, yeah, we'll take this show on the road. We understand we have a lot of fans in a lot of places, and we have a lot of people that want to come see us, and so we'll take it to Shadron and we'll take it to Sioux Falls and to play even in DJ Sokol Arena in Omaha, knowing that it doesn't really benefit them all that much. But it's good for people who want to see it here. Obviously, you put it on statewide television. And so, shout out to Danny Busboom Kelly. Friday shout out to Danny Busboom Kelly for allowing that to happen. Because I think it's a really cool deal for Creighton. I mean, to be able to host it in that building and have a mostly blue crowd there for a Nebraska match. I think that's a big deal.
Well, you'd never be able to do it for a regular season game. You'd be leaving way too much on the table. And
it'd be cool if they did, though.
Yeah, the environment would be.
It'd be
really
so
awesome.
much fun. It'd be so much fun.
The financial, it just wouldn't make any sense financially.
It would not, considering that they just literally
leave,
broke the record.
on the table for
less than a year ago.
I just love it because whether you think of it from the element of growing the game or just like they are such a massive brand in college athletics, and it's so unique, and it's really cool because there's people that maybe will never get to see these players play in Lincoln, but they got to see them in Shadron, or they got to see them in Sioux Falls, or they'll get to see them at Wrigley Field, or they'll get to see them in Brookings, or they'll get to see them in any of the places they're going to go play. I also like it from the Nebraska perspective, which is like, hey, go do something different, challenge yourself in a different way, go be good on the road, go, they're set to, she announced earlier this week, they're going to try to play Texas. I know the details of that still hasn't come out, but one of the things I love about women's college athletics is the best teams play each other, and there's no we don't want to schedule that.
That is the big takeaway for me in getting more familiarized with the volleyball thing over the last several years.
It is awesome.
It really is. I mean, we'll see what it looks like in 10 years when rivalries generate, and I don't know, you'll have an uber competitive nature to volleyball just like you do in basketball and football, eventually at some point. But right now, it really is a feeling of all for one and one for all. we want to raise the boat of volleyball. And Nebraska's taken on obviously a gigantic responsibility in that. And they're not afraid to play each other. And they're not afraid to play each other number one versus number two, giant tournaments early on in the season, things like that. Like, I mean, we're not that far away from getting Creighton's non-con schedule in volleyball this year. It's again absurd. it's again going to be absurd with both
which only
teams.
makes them better.
And think about this too. In basketball, we have seen this thing, and we were talking about specifically with Creighton now, because in basketball it had been a mid-major program, in volleyball it had been a mid-major program, and I suppose you could make the case that it still is kind of in volleyball because the conference that they play in. But the thing with mid-major teams is, do you really want to go, if you're a power conference team, do you really want to go there inside of a snake pit and play a good team that that could beat you?
Mhm.
They don't get a great home game, like point blank period at all. And like, do you really want to put yourself in that situation? And the answer repeatedly in volleyball has been yes.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I mean, it's really, really cool. So Creighton not only is going to have big road matches this year, they're going to have big home games too at DJ Sokol Arena, which would be great.
That's fantastic. And that's what's great about that sport. Like, Nebraska's played Stanford in the regular season so many times, and then they turn around and potentially play them on their way to the Final Four or in the Final Four or whatever else. Obviously, the Big Ten, you get big matchups throughout the conference season. But in the non-con, it's not uncommon to be like, oh, Nebraska's playing Kentucky, Nebraska's playing Florida, Nebraska's playing Stanford, and then you get the Penn States and the Wisconsins. Nebraska plays Creighton, like that's a ranked matchup.
Mm-hmm.
It's just good for the sport. You'd like to see that more, certainly in football where nobody wants to play anybody. And then even college basketball, I feel like, has gone this way a little bit, where we don't really need to schedule that because our conference is so good, so why even bother?
I know.
Nebraska is one of the teams that takes advantage of that. Like they also expected, you expect Creighton would be a little better than they were last year. You thought you'd get more out of Oklahoma, a tournament team. Some of it is that, but they haven't had like a marquee home and home for college basketball in a while.
Curious to see if that changes.
Allegedly it is, but we shall see when we get there.
Yeah. Last big home and home. I mean, obviously Nebraska played in the Big Ten ACC Challenge and the Gavitt games for years, which
when they were allowed to play.
They got a couple of good matchups out of that.
They did. They got smoked by Villanova several times. They lost to
just once.
Not several times. So it was Villanova once, and then was it St. John's?
Yeah, St. John's. They got and one balled by I think it was Chris Mullen's club.
Yeah,
one time. So
it was ugly.
That was a tough one.
They played Miami a few times.
But really, the last big home and home that people remember is KU.
Yeah, and it was great. People love that.
16,
not so much
17.
the one down in Kansas, probably, but the one in Lincoln. Yeah, awesome environment.
I remember going to that game in Lawrence because I puked.
Okay,
I threw up at Allen Fieldhouse.
You pulled
it just made you nauseous being in.
I had
the home of Kansas basketball.
I think the sickness was brewing, and I drove down there and covered the game.
Mentally tell yourself to get over it,
and then the pregame meal just really put me over the top. And then I went I had to like rush myself to the bathroom. And I remember because I had closed the stall door and someone thought, some kid walked in there and was like, oh, this guy. I believe the words out of his mouth were, some people just can't handle Allen Fieldhouse. And I'm like, no, I can handle it. It's fine. I'm not drunk.
You got the big game tum-tums.
I'm just sick. And Nebraska
got drunk.
Nebraska got beat by like 25 or something like that.
I just had the flu.
Yeah, I did. I was deathly ill.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
It wasn't Giancarlo's fault. Exactly.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
Text from the 402. For the volleyball match tonight at the smaller venue, are the players more available to sign autographs by chance? I would imagine. So I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that they will make themselves very available Creighton has autograph signings after every single game. I'm sure there will have to be some extra dynamics and security that goes along with all of the stars that are playing in this game. But I would imagine there would be some availability.
Random question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How much volleyball have you played?
Played? Like
a little. You're a sand volleyball guy?
Like a little sand volleyball in like maybe just post-college.
Okay. Was interested if that was a thing that, like,
it's
I have
hard.
some friends that are super into it. I absolutely, Not athletic enough to play it.
It's so hard.
I hate it. I hate sand volleyball. I don't want to be playing in the sand. I don't want to be covered in sand.
I hate sand too.
I don't want to get in my car after I'm covered in sand.
Great take.
I hated sand volleyball.
I will handshake
you would get
you
asked
this.
to fill in, and it's like, I'm terrible. And it's like, we just need a body. And it's like, I'm worse than just a body. I'm the worst player you've ever seen. And still, like, we just need you to come play. And it's like, fine, there's beer. I'll do it. And then you play, and it's miserable, and I hated it. I hate it so much.
I hate sand too. I support this completely. All
I just
right.
wanted to get that off my chest. No shout out for sand.
Jake will join us in a minute, but we do have a nice, shiny new rendering here of Memorial Stadium, and it does
There
look.
was news.
Well, that doesn't look like South Stadium to me, Schaefer. Look at this.
Whoa.
That does not look like what current South Stadium looks like. Does it to you?
Not at all.
I don't think it does.
Looks like they're trying to block off views from the old folks' home that's going up on the corner there.
The Big Red Rebuild is what we're calling it now. We'll have more details momentarily. Let's see. Let me. The redesigned stadium will offer improved access, seat comfort, enhanced sight lines, and upgraded amenities throughout the stadium. A newly connected east and west bowl that allows 360 degrees on the main concourse will make it easier. Seating 80,000 fans after full completion in time for the 2028 season. The plan includes an additional 20,000 new chair bag seats to elevate comfort, 7,000 seats dedicated to Nebraska students and band members. So they're thinking capacity 80,000. Interesting. And then we'll get to the funding as we go on. It's sort of a long press release. Board of Regents meeting will approve this next Friday at 9:00. We will take a break. Be back with Jake Sorensen after this on 1620 The Zone.
I'm kind of psychotic. So what else is new? I think you guys both know that my psychology is probably really can't assess how it operates. I don't even know how my brain works at all most days either. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, guys. We have not won a playoff game in 25 years. I don't believe ever in moral victories because they're a waste of time. My whole life would be a moral victory at that point. They're going to lose. It's the way sports go. It's very hard to go undefeated. I got the Royals going to the World Series this year. I don't care. I will follow this team wherever they go, and I will not complain about where they play. I don't want them to lose a game, but I kind of want to lose a game for the sake of
Jake
pressure.
Sorensen for losing.
Fridays with Jake Sorensen.
If I see him, I would not shake his hand.
93.7 The Ticket on Happer and Schaefer. 1620 The Zone.
We do morning show, guys. We're always on low sleep. It's the way it is.
Well, it turns out you can't win every game 2-1 or lose every game 2-1. And for more on that, we hear from Jake Sorensen, our friend at the Ticket Lincoln. Hi, Jake. Good morning.
Hey, guys. Good to hear from you guys this morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. So how far to the extreme are we on the fire everyone scale for the Royals?
10.
Out of 10, right?
Does it go above 10?
I'm just sick of it. You've pointed this out. We've talked on the show and it just off the air a lot. Why can't the Royals ever start off a season with like some sort of promise? Like it was 2014, 15. Those years, obviously, pretty good Aprils and Mays. But other than that, every year in the history of mankind, besides 2003, they've been just horrific in the month of April. And yesterday, you get a gift. You're down 6-1. They actually score some runs in the seventh. The umpires got all sorts of stomach issues going on. There's a rain delay. You take a 9-7 lead with Vinny getting his first home run. And then of all people, your best closer, your best bullpen guy, Ursig, with 2 strikes and 2 outs, loses the game. Riley Green down the line, and then, they get one more hit. I'm just sick. I'm sick. 7-12. This team is so much better than 7-12. Fire everyone.
Have you ever considered being like the Royals? You've seen this Frank guy, the Barstool Frank guy.
Oh, yeah.
You could be the Royals Frank if you wanted to.
Well, I feel like I am a lot. I just don't do my rants on them on social media. I do that exact same rant off the air. Like I'm talking to myself, essentially. I mean, yesterday I'm watching the end of that game on my couch because it's delayed. It took forever to get done, so I get home to watch the end. I'm getting ready to celebrate a win to avoid a sweep and go to New York where they never ever win. So 3 more losses coming.
Right.
Ursig decides to blow it, and everything's bad. They're going to be 7-15 by Sunday.
Yeah, they're going to be. You're right. They're going to get swept. There's no doubt.
They're not going to.
They are. No, Schaefer, you don't know. They're going to get swept.
They can find a win in there.
They won't.
The Yankees aren't that good.
No, it's not the fact the Yankees are good. It doesn't matter how good the Yankees are. They won't win at Yankee Stadium.
Nope, guaranteed.
He's right about this.
That's remarkable. Do you think you can get like deeper rants on the Royals or the Dolphins? I feel like you could be the Frank the Tank of variety of the teams of which you watch.
Frank the Tank is a Dolphins fan.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, you have 162 options for baseball versus 17.
Yeah, but because you have that many doesn't mean it matters as much as when you have the 17 games in football or whatever. If you did,
would be better for the Dolphins. The problem is I have to admit to you guys and the listeners that I'm probably at fault for this Royal start. It's on me, and this is why I said when Nebraska basketball made the Sweet 16 that my sports bucket was filled for the year and nothing else mattered. So,
oh wow,
I have cursed Nebraska football. I have cursed the Royals. I have cursed the Dolphins. I've cursed everything that I care about sports because I said, I've had all I need this year. So the Royals will probably now lose 110 games, and you can blame that squarely on me or Matt Petraro, your choice.
Well, you may have
mostly Zumwalt, yeah.
Yeah, or Zumwalt too.
It's just a joke.
You may have also cursed Nebraska basketball itself, who can't seem to do anything in the portal right now.
Yeah, I like Sam Orm. I like him. We talked about him last week on the show, and I was talking to you guys in Steamboat Springs, which I wish I was at right now. But nothing. Since then, nothing's happened. You have maybe Bowden, the guy from Boston College. You might have a guy that averaged 3 points a game at Montana last year. It was bad at Minnesota. It's been a very disappointing portal. Now, it's not done yet. Things can still change, but you thought that, hey, Sweet 16, first ever wins in the dance. If the coach of the year resides at Nebraska, I thought maybe they have some more buzz, and it has not resulted in that. So I'm not panicking. I'm a little bit concerned, but I'm not full. If I'm a 10 for the Royals, I'm like a 5 for Nebraska.
We should do a check on all the teams for Sorensen on his concern level.
Every single one of them.
Yeah, so we've gotten 2 down. Give us your Dolphins concern. I'm assuming that's a 10.
Well, no, because I expect them to be bad. They are rebuilding once again. Every 5 years, the Dolphins rebuild because they messed up the rebuild when they try to do it in the first place. So we're back to square one. So I actually believe that I like the GM. I like John Eric Sullivan. I think Hafley and him are on the same page. So being that my expectation is 4-13, my panic level is probably like a 4 right now. I'm giving him a shot. We're giving him a shot, Schaefer. I have very low expectations for this year. So if I thought they were a playoff team, I'd probably put the odds higher there, or the panic meter higher.
While we're just throwing random things at you,
This is good.
I'm curious, how did you feel? And I didn't even know this was a thing until Happer let me know that people were mad about it. How do you feel about Rory McIlroy's PJs going to Augusta all the time to get prepared for the tournament instead of playing, in Houston where you were at, or any of the other lead-up events?
I hate the conversation. I think it's a joke. I mean, Rory McIlroy won the Masters last year. He has the green jacket. Those guys are entitled to play that course whenever they want. Like, yeah, we obviously selfishly want to see them.
He's in
play
agreement with us, though.
But yeah, I mean, dude, you're a Masters champ. Like, I think that'd be kind of weird if he did that and he'd never won it before. He's played it for a full month. Like, okay, that's a little odd. But since he's a champion, I don't care. Do it. Play it every week of your life if you want. I'm fine with it. I thought the obviously typical overreaction. People need to complain about something. No, Rory is the man. He's won back to back, and he can just tell his haters to keep hating because it's not affecting him anymore.
I'm with you. Lastly, in the random category, before we ask you about
the random category.
Mega South Stadium. So I saw a tweet this morning from our dear friend at Husker Hoops Central, and it said that he tweeted at you, and he said this. You don't say the S in Julia Louis Dreyfus. It's Louis. So have you been pronouncing Julia Louis Dreyfus this entire time?
I think I said Luis. Yeah. So this goes back to, if you want the context, we were doing the game show today, Shut Up Simple, and it was filmed Friday. And so today's topic was, hyphenated actors and actresses. And so
what a topic.
Great topic.
Yeah. We had Catherine Zeta-Jones, we had Daniel Day-Lewis, we had Olivia Newton-John, and we had Julia Louis-Dreyfus. So yeah, I must have been saying it wrong forever. I don't think I've ever seen Louis-Dreyfus. So yeah, I probably have said Julia Louis-Dreyfus my whole life. So I've learned something here today at age 34, almost 35.
You could have done Melissa Joan Hart, or as some people would say, Melissa Joan Hart.
Yes. There was plenty of options, but I liked who I went with there.
So I feel like I know the answer to this, but has Sipple seen a movie involving Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yes. Yeah, he likes Gangs of New York.
Okay.
And
that actually probably tracks.
Yeah, he likes
every other movie. Like, I can't see Sipple sitting through Phantom Thread or There Will Be Blood. Maybe The Last of the Mohicans. He might have liked that.
No, he likes Gangs of New York. I'm not sure about anything else, but he's like, I should know this. He did not get it right. They lost the show today, but yeah, he likes that movie.
Have there been any Bagel Boys sightings?
No, they were 0-4 the other week, and they got Friday. I didn't even try to sugarcoat it. They actually won it fair and square. So it has been a long time. It's funny, Schaefer. Yesterday I was playing golf with young Nick, and we were playing with these random guys. And we get to hole 5, and this guy's like, "Hey, Jake, they like the station, whatever. They're like, hey, my boss is the one that brought up the Bagel Boy stuff back in the day.
Oh,
the one that Schaefer came, oh, hey, Bagel Boy,
Bagel Boy."
Happer made that
somehow-
shirt. That
I didn't make the
definitely-
shirt. Somebody sent the shirt.
Oh,
it came
I
from
thought
some.
you made the shirt.
No, I didn't make it. I found it somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy claims that his boss is the one that made that popular, and we took off, ran with it. So
yeah, good stuff. Okay, Jake, you've assuredly seen the beautiful renderings from new Mega South Stadium and other improvements around Memorial Stadium. What do you think? I mean, we've had a little bit of time to sort of think about this now. What do you think as you see the plan laid out in front of you?
that's a really, really big video board. It looks cool. It's a really big video board. I think it looks sweet. I like the way it looks. Like a little higher in the stands, and it goes all the way to the top of the video board. It's a cool look. Like if Nebraska would actually play football at a high level and they win, and I could see that place be rocking again. I want to see Memorial Stadium as a tough place to play, where teams like Troy don't come in and beat you, and Northern Illinois and Georgia Southerns. And that means nothing in terms of what the stadium looks like, but I liked it. I thought it was a pretty cool one.
You've always liked, I think you've always liked the 600 level, right? Like the view up there on the east side.
I've never sat up there.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking, looking at some of these renderings of the new South Stadium. If you're sitting up at the top, I mean, number one, it's gonna be pretty steep up there, and you're gonna be up there. Like they have it going all the way to the top of the press, like the roof of the press box, where that extra auxiliary press box. I mean, that's
high.
That's up there a little bit.
So my question was, did it say at all in the release, is that going to be student section all the way up that high or not?
It doesn't. I don't know exactly where the student section is going to be. They just said that they were going to add seats for the band and students.
Yeah, it is a long ways up, and I'd like to see what that looks like when it gets done eventually, to see how high that feels, if it feels like you're in the press box level. But I mean, if you're gonna, I thought it was a pretty cool design. There's a lot of things you could hate on, but I thought it looked pretty neat, the renderings.
Yeah, no,
Lincoln's Kyle Field.
It's definitely. I'm thinking about those views if you're sitting that high up there, like. You've probably done it where you go up to the 7th floor.
I can't do 600. I can't do 600 level east side. I've gone up to the roof on the west side because that's where the KRNU booth used to be.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
They moved them down into a nice suite now. Those kids have it so good.
Yeah, we had to move down once from Coffin Stadium because it was Happer didn't like being up that high.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I remember him climbing the steps at the Pawnee Plunge, so I know that it's not a.
I'm so bad at heights.
I know that it's not a thing that he particularly enjoys.
No. Well, maybe the Royals will surprise us all this weekend and win just one game.
No, 7 and
Put me down for one.
I'll
take the over on a half.
Stop. We don't need your fake optimism. But they're 7 and 15. They're gonna be 7 and 15. It's all over.
They'll be fine. They'll get their way back to 2 or 3 games over 500 by June, and you'll forget April even existed.
You think they're gonna get back to over 500 by June?
Yeah. Yes, they'll be fine.
Oh boy, I don't know.
You thought they were going to win the World Series 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and then I realized that they suck now. 19 games in, they decided
their pitching's pretty good. The bats will heat up.
They'll be fine.
They have.
Put me on team. They'll be fine.
Factor. Where's the clutch factor? They haven't been clutching a single game this
It's
year.
not a real thing. That's just made up.
Well, Riley Green would beg to differ, my friend. That the gritty Tigers, man, they never quit.
Yeah,
they're back again. Great.
It's sad, very sad. All right, Jake. Well, enjoy the weekend. You're not going anywhere, are you? Staying in town?
I am in Lincoln this weekend, and I'm enjoying it here.
But next weekend, you're definitely going somewhere.
No, I think I'm still around next weekend also.
Woo! 2 in a row.
Wow, that's unusual.
Watch out. All right, Jake. Thanks. See ya.
See you guys.
Jake Sorensen from 93.7 The Ticket in Lincoln, the host of Early Break with Sip and Jake and Bill Bush from 6 to 9 weekdays.
You asked about the computer center?
Yes.
Demolished. They're moving it to the Scott Engineering.
Not the supercomputer.
The 100 level is expected to be a 360-degree field connection.
Yeah. So, yeah, right. They're going to all the way around.
All the way around.
Cool.
And second 200 level as well.
Tremendous. We could talk a little bit more about this when we come back, but we must get out of the way for our bracket sim. That's right, our baseball bracket sim. After this on 1620 The Zone. All right, so more on Big Stadium 2028, apparently, with Matt and John and Josh the rest of the day. Stay tuned for that. The Big Red Rebuild is underway. By the way,
they've been going through a big red rebuild for about a decade.
Somebody should have worn a hard hat and said that out loud. That way we would have had a meme to say it for a long time. $600 million plan, $200 million in mandatory deferred maintenance, which is the stuff that they're working on literally as we speak. The bones, the guts of the place need to be redone because, folks, it's old. It's an old place. All right, so yesterday we brought you the bracket sim of a college baseball bracket from Pair Ratings. So now I have dug deeper and I have discovered further into their website. I've visited this website before, but I had not used their bracketology tab. Okay. So what you're able to do is a bracket sim. If you would like to, you can do it whichever way you'd like. Schaefer, you could do a bracket as it would be currently comprised, meaning field is as of today. You could do a projected bracket and sim that, or you could build your own bracket and then sim that.
What a site.
It is a hell of a site.
What did you do?
I think the best way to do it is the projected bracket.
Yeah, I think that's really the only way to do it.
So Nebraska is a 2 seed in the Tallahassee Regional, home of the 16 seeded Florida State.
As I look at your screen, are the teams across or is it in squares?
What do you mean?
Is that the 3 seed?
Yeah, the 3 is Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Woof! Woof!
Yeah, the three is Vanderbilt, and the 4 is Mercer. So Nebraska would get Vandy as an opener in the NCAA baseball tournament in this regard. I haven't simmed it yet because I wanted to mention one more thing. In the projected bracket, Creighton has made the NCAA tournament. They will be a 4 seed in Morgantown. Would you like to see me drinking a Mountain Dew in Morgantown?
So 4 seed Creighton gets a better run of things than Nebraska's a 2 seed. That's my takeaway.
West Virginia is pretty good.
They are good. They are definitely good. JJ Weatherholt.
And by the way, the other 2 teams in that regional would be Tennessee and Campbell. So it's not
pretty
that
good.
easy.
Yeah. No, that's not a.
All right. So I'm going to simulate this bracket.
Do it.
As we speak. Here is the College World Series we ended up with.
Whoa.
Nebraska has advanced out of the regional round.
Whoa. They
defeated Florida State, where they will take on UCLA in the Super Regional in Los Angeles and get blasted. 87% to 13%.
Wow.
So UCLA has made the
But they make it to a Super Regional
World Series. But they make it to a Super, which would be a lot of fun. And people would say, well, if they only weren't even playing the best team ever, they would have advanced. Literally any other matchup ever, they would have made it.
This thing really likes Nebraska. They just keep winning as a 2.
It does. It does like Nebraska, yes. The College World Series teams would be UCLA, Oregon State, North Carolina, Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia, Florida, and Georgia Tech. Have you seen what Georgia Tech has been cooking this year?
They're really good too.
Yeah, they hit like 1,000 home runs.
Yeah.
That's their bit. USC, by the way, advances out of a regional. And
is it a bit or are they just good?
It's a bit. It's a bit. Creighton does not get out of the regional round. They lose to, well,
any of them.
They lose to all of them.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
Yeah. West Virginia advances the Super Regional round where they lose to Texas. There you go. That's your bracket sim of the day. Welcome back. Welcome back to the bracket sim of the day. I love this website. Shout out to pairratings.com.
Really cool.
Should we do another one?
The visual of it is really well done too.
So if you do the current bracket, oh, this is even more fun. If you do the current bracket, the current projected bracket, there are 4 teams in the Norman, Oklahoma regional. The number 1 seed, Oklahoma Sooners. The number 2 seed, Nebraska Cornhuskers. Okay. # a rivalry built on respect. The number 3 seed, Campbell Camels. And the number 4 seed, Creighton Blue Jays.
Wow.
Nebraska and Creighton in the same regional in Norman. Now, should we sim this bracket? Let's do it. Nebraska has advanced
again
out of the regional round to beat. They beat whoever and lost to Texas in the super regional.
That would be a fun super.
Texas super regional would be nuts. Yes.
Would Happer and Schaefer go on the road to Norman if both teams are playing in this thing?
I don't think so.
It'd be too hard to pull that all off.
Yeah,
but you'd probably be on the road, so then I would basically just be here.
Well,
that
down. Weekend is tough. That is Lanny's wedding weekend.
Oh,
did you know that?
No, I didn't.
That's super regional weekend. So,
I was saying regional.
Oh, regional weekend. Regional weekend. I'll hopefully be.
Yeah, you'd be there. So I'd be here holding things down more than likely.
Yeah, and I'll be somewhere in the South.
Somewhere in the South,
or in Lincoln, if we get a Lincoln regional, that could be something. Nebraska and Creighton opener in the NCAA
so they have
tournament.
made it out of this is the reverse of the bracket sim of the day.
Correct.
For
yes,
basketball.
the bracket sim.
Nebraska couldn't stop losing to double-digit seeds.
The baseball bracket sim loves Nebraska,
and then here they're like, you get to be in a super regional,
and they enjoy Creighton too.
I like it.
All right, that'll do it for us today. If you miss anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Let's do a crossover with young Matt coming up next.